We certainly are, and both teams are 3-1 coming in this matchup, and there's a lot of bragging rights in the Miami County area, obviously. And looking at key players, first of all, the fullback rotation of Lewis Cass is what we're going to look at tonight. Matt Clayton and Jared McQuiston. Number 40 is Clayton, number 49 McQuiston. They rotate in and out at fullback. They're both pretty big boys, both go over 200 pounds. They're hard running backs. They're hard to bring down. You got to stick them, wrap them, and take them down. You can't arm tackle these guys. Defensively, Ben White, number 60. Their defensive tackle is their stalwart on defense. On the other side of the ball for the Peru Bengal Tigers, you've got to look at one of the top running backs in the state. We've seen some good ones, okay? Brandon Jones, number 1. He's rushed twice for over 300 yards, Bay. He's going to be an electrifying kid to see tonight. I've looked forward to all week seeing this kid run. And finally, number 88, their cornerback on defense, Prentice Bennett. Prentice Bennett is a sprinter. He's got some great moves. He returns the kicks on both punt and kickoff. He's their DB. He's their wideout. They've got some weapons, Peru does. It should be a great game tonight.
As you can tell, John and I started the season wearing short-sleeve shirts and it was 85 degrees, and now it feels like football weather. Very windy, very chilly, good crowd on hand. It's homecoming tonight, and we'll be back with the opening kickoff in just a moment. Peru and Cass here on Channel 40. Football game of the week, Jerry Baker, along with a guy who's this kind of like John Fox, deja vu all over again for you. You've run up and down this field a couple of times.
Oh, back in the mid-1970s, I was here in 75 and 77 for the Alexandria Tigers when we used to play the Peru Bengal Tigers in the old CIC.
Well, we're underway tonight. The kickoff is taken short up around the 15-16-yard line and lateraled back to the trailing back across the 20, 25, 30, 35, out to about the 38-yard line. And Bennett is the young man who has the football. We're going to be calling his name an awful lot tonight, I am sure. So let's line up the Peru offensive unit here, John.
Obviously, Brandon Jones is a key in the offensive backfield for the Tigers, having 2 games over 300 yards this season already, one of the top backs in the state. Looking at the offensive line, Nick Resch, the right guard, number 65, he squats 660 pounds,
wow.
Bake.
Wow. So do you, though, don't you,
if I go up and down 3 times.
Over a whole week, maybe we get
over a whole week.
Right. All right, Peru with the football for the first time. Lewis Sipe is the quarterback, fine young quarterback. They'll get it back to the line of scrimmage, trying the right side, and not much running room over there. Here's the defensive lineup now for Lewis Cass High School.
Well, Lewis Cass, Jared McQuiston doubles both offensively and defensively. He's the defensive end, big kid, about 6'3", 235 pounds. Watch him tonight. And in the secondary, we want to try to watch Lee Schultz, the safety, number 7.
Wide out to the left side, number 10, Brandon Appleton, a 5'10", 165-pound senior. He will start in motion and come completely out of your screen, sets the block to get around the end. This is Brandon Jones. Jones will get out to about the 35-yard line. The story on Brandon Jones that I'm hearing, John Fox, is that he needs some running room. Lee Schultz on the stop that time. And if they can get him to the outside, and that would appear early on what the game plan is, he has some good speed and can really deliver the mail.
Well, he certainly can. And you talked about number 88, Prentice Bennett. He's a kid that does it all. He's a wide receiver. He returns punts. He returns kicks. He's a big play player, too. So they got a couple of weapons there.
All right, set up in the I formation. Slot to the left side. 3rd down and 7 early in this football game. Quick pass over the middle. Picked off. Intercepted by number 11 of Cass. It's Brian Beck. Beck moves down the left side. Beck may go all the way, and he will with the interception. 43 yards on the pass interception by Lewis's Cass's Brian Beck, and that is his 2nd pass interception of the year.
Boy, just a great play there by Beck, kind of playing center field defensively. And Brian Beck, we'll see the replay, and you'll see that he read the quarterback's eyes very, very well. Lewis Sipe, the quarterback of Peru, sets up. And you see the return there on the interception by Brian Beck after he makes that interception. And he had great blocking in front of him. Jared McQuiston, number 49 there, Bake, you see on the screen, threw a key block to get Beck in the end zone.
So the Lewis Cass Club strikes early, and here's the point after attempt. It is up by Corey Connor. It is good. With 10.5 minutes still to go in this quarter, 90 seconds into the game, Cass on the turnover by Peru takes the lead by a score of 7-0.
It's more than just a way to mow your lawn. It's a connection to 163 years of hard-earned truths passed down from the Great Plains to your backyard. It is world-class technology helping you care for your own private piece of the planet. It is John.
Into the game, and Cass on the turnover by Peru takes the lead 7-0.
Brian Beck did a great job of defensively playing there in the linebacker, kind of strong safety position. Picked that off and had great blocking on the interception return.
Morris on the kickoff. It'll go out of bounds, and that'll be a penalty, and Peru will get the football in pretty good field position.
Bake, you missed out. We had Subway tonight here. Subway invites you in after each and every game for friendly customer service, clean surroundings, and a healthy, low-fat menu. Their Bunker Hill location serves buffet style by slice for $1.89 or whole pizzas for $7.49. A whole pizza for $7.49 is pretty good buy.
You betcha.
TCBY yogurt and 12 flavors of ice cream. Locations are in Peru and Logansport. Subway, where they've got the taste.
Well, the 15-yard penalty will mark Lewis Cass back. The Kane Linus on that first offensive set is intercepted, and that is only the fourth time in 73 pass attempts this year that he has been intercepted. But they got him, and they turned it into a score at the other end. So Linus, a 6'6", 202-pound senior, will win the Peru club gets over the Cass. Let me check it here. Back it up. It's Lewis Sipe who is the quarterback. I said Linus, he's on the other side. We haven't seen him yet. Lewis Sipe, that was his first interception of the year against Sipe. Here's the kick taken short again this time. Picked up by Brandon Appleton. Appleton comes to the near side. Singles across the 20 out near the 25-yard line. And we'll set Lewis Sipe up again. Travis Berry on the tackle this time for Cass. The Peru Tigers head coach Mike Stewart. They come in with a 3-1 record. Wins over Twin Lakes 35-34 in triple overtime. They lost to Logansport here at their home field 39-33 and knocked off Eastern of Greentown 40-6. And then last week at Taylor, bombed Taylor 57-13. So they are 3-1, as is Cass coming into this game. Sipe gives over the right side. Jones with about 3 or 4 yards on that play. Brandon Jones, number 1. And make it second down and 7 yards to go.
Well, I'm sure that our great statistician, Mr. Tim Boroff, has a few little notes for us this evening on Brandon Jones as the game progresses.
Oh, yes. Fine young man, an outstanding runner. Here's the handoff to the fullback coming up the middle over the left side out to the hash marks and shy of the 30-yard line. So maybe a yard on the play. And a third down and long situation now facing the Peru Tigers.
You know, Bake, we talked about it. We've seen some of the premier running backs in the state, if you think about in the first 5 weeks. The first week out of the gate, Indianapolis Cathedral against Pike. We saw Cathedral's Otis Shannon, one of the career rushing leaders. He'll break that record here in a little bit. Last week we saw Rodney Burns of Indianapolis Ritter. And this week, Brandon Jones.
Sipe's back to throw. He's got a receiver. It is going to be, nope, he missed the ball just right shy of the first down yardage. In fact, may have been thinking about that first down yardage and let the ball get away. So it is 3 and out now for Peru. And after turning the ball over the first possession, they cannot move it on the second possession, and they'll kick it away. Peru's punter is number 10, Brandon Appleton.
I think Peru's a little shocked right now after throwing that touchdown interception return to Brian Beck.
Appleton will get it away, had a little pressure, hits a nice high kick. It's taken on the 47-yard line. Picked up and brought back by Nick Morris. And Morris gets across midfield down to the 35-yard line. Bramer on the tackle now for Peru. And we'll get our first look at the Cass offensive lineup. Kane Linus, we spoke of him incorrectly a couple of moments ago. He is 31 of 72 for 480 yards, 4 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions all year long. A couple of moments ago, that intercept by Lewis Sipe was his first of the season. So Linus brings him up to the line of scrimmage. Slots wide to the right side of the bottom of your screen, giving the first man through there. And down near the 30-yard line.
Let's take a look at the Cass offense. You mentioned him, Kane Linus, their quarterback. But the guys to watch are number 40, Matt Clayton, and the alternating fullback, Jared McQuiston, number 49. On that front line, we're going to take a look at Chris Moulton, the right tackle, opening up a lot of holes for their backfield and doing some good pass blocking.
Lee Schultz and Matt Clayton set in the backfield behind the quarterback Linus. Here is the give to Schultz. Schultz runs over the defenders of the secondary and takes it down just outside the 20-yard line. Brandon Appleton finally did come in to make the stop for the Peru ball club. Here's the Peru defensive unit now, John.
Defensively on the line, we look at a couple of people, Derek Kellums and Nathan Rogers, your left and right tackle down in the trenches. And in the secondary, we mentioned him before, number 88, Prentice Bennett. Outstanding speed. He covers the best receiver on the other team.
You saw Brian Beck slide out way to the right side, actually going outside as the flanker back. Up the middle again, 3 or 4 yards on this play. It's interesting to note also, John, the Cass offensive line averages 202.4. Peru's defensive front four averages 201.8. So there's not much variance when Cass has the football. When Peru has it, there is quite a disadvantage defensively for Cass, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Well, Lewis Cass, I talked to their coach, Scott Mannering, before the ball game, Bake, and he talked about the fact that they'll run a lot of different offensive sets. They'll run offset backs, twins, double wides. They'll run out of the wing T mainly.
Here's the inside handoff to number 7, Lee Schultz, the 6'4", 170-pound senior. He'll try it over the left side. Rogers on the tackle. Next week, we got a couple of really good football clubs coming at us, Zionsville and Roncalli. John?
Boy, I've been to Roncalli before over the last several years and very impressed with that ball club. And they have just done a super job running that program at Roncalli. They've won some state championships. They're 2-2. They're ranked number 7 in the 3A poll this week. And Richie Nally has rushed for 480 yards coming into this week's action.
They're down at 5 again. Here's again the give to the second man through and just keeps on trucking. Look at the legs work that time on 49, Jared McQuiston. McQuiston has rushed for 237 yards on 32 carries and a couple of touchdowns in this 3-1 season. Again, it's Appleton on the defensive stop.
Jerry, we talked about Roncalli a bit before McQuiston's great run. Zionsville in the Rangeline Conference, they're 2-2. They're ranked number 10 this week in the coaches poll, number 6 in the AP poll. And their big man is Ryan Wagner. 90 carries, 582 yards, 8 touchdowns. We're going to see a couple of great backs again next week.
Same old story all over, John. We're on the left side this time, or over left guard, and down inside the 5, down near the 3-yard line. You see the defensive gang coming off the deck, and off top, Jared McQuiston. Blake Conklin and Prentice Bennett combine to the stop.
Well, Lewis Cass, I mentioned they run a lot of different multiple sets on offense, right? They run mainly out of what's called the wing T. And, Jerry, they've got 6 players going both ways for 2A school.
I just noticed that Scott Mannering just sent number 40, Matt Clayton, back onto the field, apparently as the messenger man. They set up in the pro formation. Almost trips in the backfield then. Over the right side is Clayton, and he's got the touchdown. Matt Clayton, number 40. That is his 4th touchdown of the season. He's quite a rusher, 50 carries, 298 yards. And just like that, Cass is out in front 13-0 early in this game.
We'll take a look at the replay, and we'll see the 2 fullbacks both in the backfield. The leading blocker is Jared McQuiston there, Bake, and following him is Matt Clayton. So that's a lot of muscle going through there at one time.
The snap is back. The holder is Corey Stowe, and the kick by Nick Morris is good. And with 5:52 to go in the opening period here in Peru, it is Cass out in front of Peru, 14-0. Have come out running here. They're ready to kick off right now.
We'll catch Mike Anderson, Chrysler Dodge Jeep here in a second. Tell you about them after the kickoff,
All
Jerry.
right, Morris's kick is coming up short, taken on the 20-yard line, runs to the near side. A little bit of running room out there, and across the 30, or right near the 30-yard line. And it's Chris Williams, the 5'7", 151-pound junior on the return that time.
Mike Anderson Chrysler Dodge Jeep is located in Rochester, right off US 31. In addition to the general public, Chrysler employees and eligible family members are welcome. Mike Anderson in Rochester. Tonight's game also brought to you by Tulukian Supply, a wholesale distributor. I'll tell you about them after this play.
All right, Peru with the football for the 3rd time, and so far they've not been able to go anywhere with the football. The fake pitch, the give to the tailback. Coming to the near side is Brandon Jones. Jones gets a little bit of running room out across the 40. knocked out of bounds right in front of the Peru squad, and Morris on the stop that time. Here's the drive. The drive was an extensive one again for Cass. Jones with a 14-yard touchdown run.
All righty, Tulukian Supply is a wholesale distributor. They specialize in plumbing and heating products. Tulukian is a tap and heating and cooling distributor. Visit their beautiful showroom today at 720 North Clay Street in Peru, serving north central Indiana since 1973.
They set a man in motion, give the ball to the tailback again. And Jones will get back to the line of scrimmage, and that is about all there is to it. Ben White with the stop that time for the Cass Kings. Lewis Cass High School, located in Walton, Indiana, a few miles south and a little bit west of Peru. Tigers and the Kings are both Mid-Indiana Conference members.
Well, Peru used to be in the CIC until 1998, and then they bucked along with Tipton and basically left the old Central Indiana Conference.
Here's the fake pitch and the give once again to Brandon Jones. He gets maybe a yard that time.
There's a look at the scoring drive, the most recent one a few plays ago by Lewis Cass Kings. 7 plays, 36 yards, elapsed time 3 minutes 33 seconds, and it was a touchdown run of 3 yards by Matt Clayton, the extra point by Morris Good, and we're at 14-0. Lewis Cass coming out surprising Peru here in the early going, Bake.
All right, some late substitutions now coming in from the near sideline for Mike Stewart, the head coach of the Peru Tigers, is set up in the I formation again. They fake the give to the tailback, back the throw, and the pass is over the head of the intended receiver on the far side of the field, throwing to Brandon Appleton that time. Clayton with the pressure that time.
Well, I wouldn't say pressure. He was in the face of Lewis Sipe. Sipe didn't have any breathing room, and he hurried the pass, Jerry, went completely over the intended receiver's head. Give a lot of credit to Lewis Cass. They're playing a 4-down line with 4 backers, and they're sending their linebackers from time to time, and they're putting some pressure on the quarterback to throw it in a hurry.
Well, Sipe is having his problems tonight. He is 0 for 3 passing with 1 interception. Here is the kick away. It is touched by Cass, fumbled and recovered by Lewis Cass on the 30-yard line. Now the guy coming off the deck down there is Zach Fry, the 5'11", 159-pound sophomore. Look at it again.
All right, Bake, we'll look at it again. The guy who actually fumbled the ball was Brian Beck, who had the interception return for a touchdown. And there you see a very alert play by his teammate coming in and covering that fumbled punt. Boy, it could have been disaster city for Lewis Cass. They've had everything go their way so far in the first quarter, even recovering that punt.
So now Kane Linus will bring him up to the line of scrimmage. Caven Davis at left tackle, Korn at left guard, Ben White at center, Joe Griffin at right guard, Moulton on the right tackle spot. Tight end set to the right side, quickly up the middle on the keeper. Linus has rushed for 111 yards on 33 carries and 4 touchdowns during this season, where they run up a 3-1 record. Cass with a win over Delphi, 21-7. They shut out LaVille, 29-0. Defeated Northwestern, 35-27. And then last week were surprised, 21-0 by Hamilton Heights. John, I was talking earlier, they only averaged 21.3 a game. They put 14 on the board with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter.
They rely heavily on their defense. We talked about their 4-4 defense. They're very stingy, giving up points. And as you mentioned, only lost to a very good Hamilton Heights ball club.
Linus back to throw, has a receiver on the far sideline. Lee Schultz will get it. Schultz up that far sideline, gets across the 45, across the 40. And Appleton knocked him out of bounds at about the 39-yard line. Now, while we're saying that Cass doesn't score a lot of points at 21-3, they only allow 13.8 per game. So their defense will get the job done in good fashion.
That's their bread and butter, their defense, their 4-4 defense. We'll take a look at a replay here, and we'll see Linus rolling out and throwing to the far sidelines, and Scholes making the catch on the far sidelines, kind of tippy-toed down the far sidelines before he got knocked out of bounds. Gain of 23, 1st and 10 for Lewis Cass.
Couple of running backs set in the backfield, and is given on the left side of number 7, Lee Schultz again. Schultz down near the 40-yard line to pick up about 4 yards on the play. And as John, you pointed out, as Conklin makes the stop, right now it is all Cass football because they have done everything they've wanted to do, both offensively and defensively.
And they got a break. They could have turned it over. They recovered the fumble. Nothing going wrong for Lewis Cass at this point. And they're a ball club. It's pretty balanced between the run and the pass. So I wouldn't be surprised they put the ball up a little bit more.
Esselman wide to the right side. They give the ball to the fullback up the middle again, close to first down territory. Indeed, may have a first down. The officials stop the clock to spot the football. Lane and Appleton again, a couple of guys you'll hear a lot of tonight. As John pointed out, a lot of guys going both ways. They got the first down. It's 1st and 10 inside the 35-yard line. And as you look down below me here, Mike Stewart wants a timeout. And he will get the timeout as Peru right now is having trouble stopping Cass. And their offense has gone nowhere. Just to recap the situation for you, with 3 minutes to go, it's 14-0. Cass scoring on a pass interception on the first Peru possession. And then the second time around, Cass takes it in for the touchdown. They lead at 14-zip.
Hey, Bake, see the best-selling author and international speaker and consultant Jim Swartz and his competitive action team, the Hyatt Regency Downtown Indy, October 10th, for their workshop Overcoming the Obstacles to Lean and Agile Manufacturing. Call 1-800-394-6868 or visit their website at www.competitiveaction.com.
Well, Mike Stewart is
Pioneer Manufacturing.
All right, Cass has outrushed Peru 50-23, and in all fairness to Peru, they have not had much possession time with that football.
Looking at that offensive line of Lewis Cass, they're getting off the ball very well and opening some holes. Ben White, we talked about him in the pregame. Big kid, he's their center, 6 foot 219, a senior, probably the strongest kid on the Lewis Cass team.
A tick inside, 3 minutes to go. Here's a give to the fullback again. Running over the right side is number 40, Matt Clayton. Clayton will get it down just shy of the 20-yard line.
Got some laundry out there, Bake. Looks like we might have a holding call.
First time we've had a penalty marker down, yes.
Yep, exactly.
And it's against Cass, so we'll wait and see the official call here. They are talking now to Peru's number 44. That's Blake Conklin. And they'll mark it off against Cass. And they'll take it back out to right on the 40-yard line. It is a holding call against Cass, and that's the first penalty against either of these clubs tonight. It'll be 1st down and 16.
Some of my buddies are out there officiating. I've done a few high school basketball games with them. Jim Burris, Doug Pullins, Norm Hathcote from Pendleton, Jerry Myers, and Ed Humphrey, all from the Anderson-Muncie area. Guys I know quite well.
Beautiful night for football. John and I have been sweltering, as is the rest of our crew and everybody else involved, with the previous number of 4 games. But tonight it's a perfect night for football. Full back up the middle again. And not much of an advantage running by room this time for Matt Clayton. Conklin with the stop that time for this Peru club. We talked about the defensive efforts of Lewis Cass. Peru defensively allows 23 points a game, and they can get by with that because they score 41 plus per game. But tonight they are shut out with 2:04 to go here in the opening quarter. Inside 2 minutes now in the first quarter, 14-0 Cass. They have the football. Back to throw again. Looking, plenty of time, spots a receiver, and the pass is complete, I believe. Yes, and out of bounds, the receiver, Brian Beck, number 11.
Great hands, great concentration by Brian Bennett. He was in traffic there. He was double-teamed, and Kane Linus threw a perfect strike on the sidelines there, and I'm sure we're going to see the replay on this one. There's the faked handoff to Schultz. And then back is Linus. He rolls over far side of the field in front of his bench and just throws a bullet down the sidelines to Beck, and Beck is out at about the 22, Bake.
And according to the stats I received, John, that's only his 2nd catch of the year. He had 1 catch for 6 yards coming into tonight's game. Over the right side, running room again as Matt Clayton bullies his way down to about the 15-yard line. Appleton again on the stop with 1:35 to go here in the first quarter. It has been all Lewis Cass.
They've just been marching down the field. Peru's not had an answer for them defensively. I've got to give a lot of credit once again to that offensive line of Lewis Cass. They're getting off the ball well, and when they've had to pass protect, they've done a good job of containing defense and not letting them get to Linus.
McQuiston and Brian Beck set up in the backfield now behind Kane Linus. Linus will fake the keep and give it over the right side, and they'll bump it down inside the 10, down to around the 8-yard line. McQuiston is the ball carrier that time with 1:08 to go.
How would you like to be the defensive man for Peru trying to tackle Jared McQuiston? There you see his numbers on the screen. 6'1", 230, and a full head of steam coming at you.
I think I would say, you want to go on through here, Mr. McQuiston? It's all yours.
You're tackling him, but by the time you hit him, it feels like he's tackling you with the ball.
Exactly. That is the 6th first down in the first quarter for Cass High School, and Peru so far with only one. They set a man in motion. Here's the rollout. They throw in the far side. It is caught. I believe that's Schultz down there with the catch. It is Schultz, and he is shy of the touchdown, down to about the 3-yard line.
Well, Schultz a little shaken up as he got up, Bake, but he had a full body extension. You see him kneeling down there. 6'4". He extends that body all the way here. Look at this. Look at that. He spread all the way out, makes a catch, keeps his feet in bounds. Great concentration by Lee Schultz to make the catch. And Schultz, pretty big kid, 6'4", 170. He needed all that 6'4" that time.
2 catches, 29 yards for Schultz. Came into the game with 12 receptions for 158 yards. This is play number 10 of this drive. They set a man in motion, stops, acts as a blocker. They give it over the right side, and Matt Clayton's got the touchdown again. I mean, Cass has come out here loaded for bear, and they have been impressive.
That is the 3rd score. We still have 45 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. And you mentioned they've only averaged 21 points a game. If they add the extra point here, they've made their average in the first quarter.
In the first quarter. Out of the hold of Kane Linus, the quarterback. The point after attempt by Nick Morris. Morris, a 5'10", 161-pound senior. Snap is back, placed down, kick is up. It is good. And as John mentioned, Cass has now equaled its scoring average on their previous 4 games this season, and we're still 45 seconds from the end of the first quarter. With that showing, 45 seconds to play, it is Cass 21 and Peru nothing.
For all your insurance needs, look to the folks at Webster Insurance Agency here in Peru. They have over 50 years of insurance experience serving the Peru and Miami County area. They handle both professional, personal, and business insurance. Call Tom Webster, Mark Allen, Steve Huffman, Cynthia Leffel at 472-3334 for all your insurance needs. That's the Webster Insurance Agency right here in Peru.
Well, John, I was talking earlier about one of the problems that Peru is having, and they've not been able to move the football. One of the reasons why is the Peru offensive line averages 210.2 pounds per man. Cass's defensive front 4 averages 232.8. So that's 22.5 pounds difference per man on the offensive and defensive side of the line. And right now, Peru cannot simply move the football.
That's a lot of disparity, Bake, and we're ready for the kickoff.
Here it is. It'll head deep again. And this time taken on about the 17-yard line. Once again, pitched deep, running up the middle, and breaking loose momentarily and getting it out just shy of the 35-yard line. That'll be number 88. That's Kyle Clinton on the return that time.
The latest scoring drive, Bake, it was a 3-minute, 34-second drive, 10 plays, 70 yards. The key plays were a 22-yard pass from Linus to Schultz, 17-yard pass also in that series. And to Beck, just, a great drive for him. It culminated with a 3-yard TD run from Matt Clayton. Extra point good, 21-0 Lewis Cass.
All right, Sapp gives to the fullback. He'll try over right guard and get it maybe a yard on the play. And that's been the story of this football game. When Peru does have the football, they can't do anything with it.
Hey, we've got one of our old basketball buddies, longtime head coach at Kokomo High School, now moved over to coach at Lewis Cass. Basil Malby will be our guest at halftime here in the booth at Peru. And also on September the 29th, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be with Howard next week. I'll be on the road myself. Number 6, Hamilton Heights takes on Northwestern. They host Northwestern at Hamilton Heights, and that's another big MIC game.
Back to throw this time is Sipes. Sapp's got a receiver over the middle. It is picked off. The interception by Lee Schultz of Cass. Lee gets it across midfield, down to the 40, still on his feet, takes it down just shy of the 35, maybe across the 35, down near the 30-yard line. That's the second pick on Lewis Sipe, who came into the game with no interceptions in 44 passes.
Well, first, Brian Beck earlier in the first quarter makes the interception, and now Lee Schultz intercepts here, and that is the second pick, as you mentioned, of the quarterback of Peru, Lewis Sipe. We'll take a look at this replay. The faked handoff by Sipe. He rolls near side of the field, looks down, and he throws right into an area. I think if he throws a little higher, he's got a completed pass and some big-time yardage, but he underthrew the intended receiver, and that's what enabled the interception to occur.
That is the 6th interception of the season for Lee Schultz. Hey, let's take a break now with the end of the first quarter finally here, and I'm sure Peru is happy that it finally is. After one, it's Cass 21 and Peru nothing. score, and it's not a typo. After one, it's Lewis Cass 21 and Peru nothing on our 40 football game of the week. Cass will have the football now on the 33-yard line. They got a man in motion. There's the inside handoff. Running room up the middle. Still running room up the middle. That's Seth Griswold with the football now for Cass. He'll pick up enough distance for the first down. They bump it down inside the 20, about the 19-yard line. Zach Hunter is the tackler that time, and Peru absolutely at this particular point in time, John Fox has no answer whatsoever for this Cass
Marching
offense.
up and down the field, Bake. Like I said, give Lewis Cass a lot of credit. They're just beating them in the trenches right now and moving them back 5, 6, 7, 8 yards at a pop.
Carl Elshman said wide to the right side of your screen. Over the middle again this time. They'll work their way down to the 15-yard line. And the ball carrier this time, number 40, Matt Clayton. Webster and Conklin on the stop that time for Peru.
Well, Matt Clayton has 8 carries, Bake, 39 yards, 2 touchdowns so far here in the first half, and they've done an outstanding job.
There's a look defensively at number 88, Prentice Bennett for Peru. There's your man in motion again, heading out to the right side, resetting on the right side. Wide out on the far side of the field. The give to the tailback coming across, Lee Schultz. Schultz will get it inside the 15 down to around the 10-yard line.
Brandon Jones, I don't know if you noticed, just came back to the bench. He's had a hand administered to. He's injured his hand. He's got a heavily taped left hand down in front of us. Bill Shuey, who is the PA microphone guy up here at Peru, has done a good job of giving me little insight and tidbits about Peru, and we appreciate Bill for doing that. That's Bill Shuey. He is head of the PA up here.
And if Jones goes down, they're in deep trouble. But he has to have that left hand very heavily taped, especially that little pinky on that side. Right side this guy, Matt Clayton. And Clayton is going to be down around the 5-yard line. Appleton and Hunter again on the stop. And the nose of the football across the 5-yard line now.
My terminology for this right now, Bake, this is smash mouth football. They're just coming right at him and just challenge him down in the trenches. And right now, Lewis Cass is the better man, the better team, because they're just stuffing Peru backwards.
That is the 8th first down of the game here in the first half for Cass. Peru has managed only 1 so far. Here's the give to the second man through again. No running room this time for Jared McQuiston. McQuiston back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. We talked about the discrepancy between Peru's offensive line and the Cass defensive line. And we also mentioned earlier, you put these two together, the Cass offensive line and the Peru defensive line are literally within a half a pound of each other. So neither club with an advantage in that area right now. Davis, Corn, White, Griffin, and Moulton across that front line for Cass.
When you look at McQuiston and also Clayton on Lewis Cass in the backfield, 2 big, bona fide, power-running fullbacks, you cannot arm tackle them. You can't tackle them above the waist. You got to hit them, stick them. I talked about that in the pregame.
They had a full house backfield that time. They give on the second man through in that backfield. Climbing off the deck, you see, number 47. That's Mayhill.
The big guy's only going to go down from the knees down, Bake. I mean, you're not going to hit him up around the shoulder pads and you give away 30 pounds to a fullback that weighs more than you. He's just going to push you back till he eventually falls over you.
Yeah, there's a good look at that defensive unit of Peru, and right now they're just talking to themselves. You see number 47, the gentleman who just carried the football, Kyle Mayhill, a 5'9", 194-pound junior. And again, the full house backfield. They run a lot of different options out of this particular alignment. They'll put the man in motion. Mayhill sets to the right side, will act as a blocking back. Here's the fake. Back to throw is Linus. Linus throwing into the end zone. Touchdown.
No, he stepped out.
He barely stepped out of the end of the end zone. He had it momentarily, did Barry Canfield. And the play was basically successful except for the depth of the throw that time, John.
Well, that and the receiver did a great job of trying to keep presence of mind and keep his feet in bounds, Bake, but his foot did go out of bounds. I mean, he went high to make the catch and then try to bring the feet both down in bounds. We'll take a look at the replay and see if we can see, and you, the viewers, conclusively what happened here. Look how high he had to go up, and you can see he was on the line. Then he tried to sneak back and say, I caught it in bounds. I didn't actually step on the line.
He knew he was close. Here's another look at it for you.
And there is Kane Linus.
Timeout, Cass.
Cass has taken a timeout, a 4th and 1 situation for Cass right now.
Also like to welcome back Mr. Greg McKinley.
And with 8 minutes and 37 seconds to play here in the first half, Cass, the dominant team so far in tonight's 40 football game of the week.
Well, next week, as we mentioned, we've got the Zionsville Eagles and the Roncalli Rebels in action. And Roncalli and Zionsville ought to be a great game. Howard Kellman will be back with us. And we're going to take a look at this replay one more time, Bacon. We talked about it moments ago. There is Kane Linus. He's rolling out to his right to make the pass down to number – I can't tell there.
85.
Is that 85?
Yeah.
I thought it was. That's Barry Canfield. Look at Canfield. He actually stepped out, then stepped back in. But once you leave the field of play, you have to reestablish your position on the field, and he didn't.
We'll come right back with this next play in just a moment.
Microsoft certified systems engineers are in demand. Gain the competitive edge through training to become an
drive now for Cass, and the Kings right now banging on the door again with 4th down and 1. Quarterback keep. He got it. Kane Linus gets the touchdown. That'll be his 5th rushing touchdown of the season. And all of a sudden, this thing is blowout city unless Peru can find some way to A, get an offense that'll move, and B, get a defense that can stop somebody.
We'll take a look at the QB sneak by Kane Linus. Great offensive line blocking. Look at the surge. He is 2 yards in the end zone there, Bake, on the replay. That's why Lewis Cass is getting it done. They're winning the battle from tackle to tackle.
Perfect snap, perfect place, perfect kick. Point after is good by Nick Morris. And all of a sudden with 8 minutes, yes, 8 minutes and 41 seconds to go in the first half of this game, it is Cass 28 and Peru nothing. Well, John, you just got to suspect that Mike Stewart might have cringed early on because on the first drive that Peru had the football, they were picked and going in for a touchdown, and that just sort of set the scene for what's followed here the rest of this game to this point anyway.
We've not had a real good look at Brandon Jones, the #1 rusher in the state of Indiana. As you mentioned, Brandon Jones, boy, just a great athlete, #1 in the state in rushing, #5 in scoring with 82 points. He's had over 2 300-yard games this year, one for 321 yards and another one for 318 yards. And we've not really had a chance to see what he can do because he got injured earlier in the half.
Well, with 8 minutes and 41 seconds of playing time remaining in the first half of this game, it's a Cass lead of 28-0, and they will kick off again. Ball is spotted down to the 40-yard line. And Nick Morris, the 5'10", 161-pound senior, will do the kicking honors.
His legs got a lot of work this first half.
Indeed, they have. Here is the kick. Not particularly long. It'll be taken, actually hit the ground at about the 31 or 2-yard line, and Peru has to fall on the football immediately as the up men could not handle it. So Peru will get it, and I see that Brandon Jones will be going out on the field. We were concerned about his health and well-being.
Okay, here's the latest scoring drive for the Lewis Cass Kings. 8 plays, 32 yards, elapsed time 3 minutes, 19 seconds. And the big play, Clayton, 9 carries, 44 yards. McQuiston, 5 carries, 23 yards. Schultz, 4 carries, 22 yards. The 1-yard quarterback sneak by Kane Linus, the extra point by Morse. 28-0 Lewis Cass Kings, surprising Peru.
Well, Brandon Jones set up as the only setback in the backfield. Clayton comes in to make the stop after Jones picks up about 3 yards, making a couple of yards on that carry. Brandon Jones this year, 115 rushes for 1,087 yards.
Wow.
And a dozen touchdowns. But right now, he's really got his hands full.
That's a season for anybody.
Exactly.
In a normal 9-game high school schedule. He's got this in 4 games.
Exactly. He leads the state in rushing, as a matter of fact, and is #5 in scoring with 82 points coming into the game tonight. Here's the fake pitch and the give again to Jones. He'll try the left side, and there's just nowhere to go. I'll tell you what, the defensive pursuit of the front line for Cass right now is at its zenith.
Well, I agree with you, and that time only about a yard for Brandon Jones. 8 carries, 25 yards tonight. That's it for Brandon Jones here in the first half. We've got about 7 minutes and 35 seconds remaining before halftime.
You know, you were talking a couple of moments ago in that Twin Lakes game back on the 19th of August. He carried the football 47 times in one game for 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he is a workhorse. But we'll mention it again. He is working at a bit of a disadvantage physically tonight as he sets up in the tailback spot to the left side of your screen. Back to throw this time with the football is Sipe. Sipe's got plenty of time. He's got 3 white shirts on him. Just puts it up for grabs and wide open, and dropping the football is Adam Webster. Webster actually was so open he had stopped and then had to take a couple of more steps forward and could not hang on to the football.
I thought he was going to run over the sidelines, get a water ball, take a sip, run back out there, catch the ball, and go for the touchdown.
Yeah, John, he had all kinds of time here. So look at it again. And to the right of the screen down here, you'll see how open he is.
Well, Sipe paid the price when he let go of it big. He got hit hard. And there's Webster wide open right on his fingertips. If it's there and it's on your hands, you should be able to catch it.
Appleton will punt it away now for Peru. And once again, just no ball movement whatsoever for Peru. They've had only 1 first down in the game. The line drive kick is taken on the 35-yard line. Return to the 40, the 45, and that's where the receiver is knocked down. That is number 11, Brian Beck, on the return that time.
Tolukian Supply is a wholesale distributor. They specialize in plumbing and heating products. Tolukian is a tap and heating and cooling distributor. Visit their beautiful showroom at 720 North Clay Street in Peru, Indiana. They've been serving North Central Indiana's needs since 1973. That's Tolukian Supply.
Cass Kings back with the football again. Greg Marchand is their AD. William Isaacs, the principal. Dr. John Bevan is the superintendent. Members, as I mentioned earlier, the Mid-Indiana Conference. And right now, they're beating up on one of their Mid-Indiana Conference teammates, if you will. The pass complete to Lee Schultz on the near sideline. A little over 500 students in the school. Their colors are red, white, and navy. Clayton on the stop that time.
See the best-selling author and international speaker and consultant Jim Schultz and his competitive action team at the Hyatt Regency downtown Indianapolis on October the 10th for their workshop Overcoming the Obstacles to Lean and Agile Manufacturing. Give them a call at 1-800-394-6868 or visit their website at www.competitiveaction.com.
We still have over half of the second quarter remaining. Here's the inside handoff to Jared McQuiston. McQuiston will pick up about 2 or 3 yards on the play. And by the time they get back to the line of scrimmage, we'll be halfway through the second quarter, and it's 28-0 in favor of Cass as Zach Hunter made the defensive play that time for Peru's Tigers. We're at Bengal Stadium in Peru, Indiana tonight. And here's an official's timeout. Circus City is exactly right. Grissom Air Force Base, not all that far from here. Now we'll start the clock again, and we're inside 6 minutes.
You look at Peru, their high school team, their helmets, their uniforms are just like the Purdue University Boilermakers. Just like it.
Yep. And I'm sure Purdue is now hoping that the same results don't happen tomorrow when they go to Notre Dame. Fullback handoff again. Quick hitter up the middle. Running room this time for Jared McQuiston. The defender trying to hang on for dear life is number 10, Brandon Appleton, a 5'10", 165-pound senior. He had him, and he got about a 10 or 15-yard free ride because there was no way to stop McQuiston on that play. As you take a look at this replay once again.
Well, you'll see Appleton come in here on the tackle. The fake goes up, and then in the middle, here comes McQuiston. Schultz got the fake. Then McQuiston tried to basically carry him into the end zone. Finally, Appleton does all he can to use his body, just kind of cut his legs out from under him. He gave away 70 pounds to McQuiston, Appleton did there, and he probably drug him, what, maybe 10, 11 yards?
15 yards.
Yeah.
31 yards on the carry. That's the 9th first down of the first half for Cass. They give the ball to the tailback, number 7, Lee Schultz. He gets hit pretty hard from the right side of the defensive line of Peru. And back to the line of scrimmage. Hunter on the stop that time for Peru. They may have lost a little bit of yardage on that play with 5:05 to go and a 28-0 ball game in favor of Cass. In the white and orange, their school colors, white, red, and navy, so they're in the red and white. Peru is in that old gold and black that John referred to a couple of moments ago, and yeah, it looks like the Purdue Boilermakers football squad out there. They'll set the man in motion, Barry Canfield. Now he'll reset on the right side of the line. Strong man to the left side. They give the ball to number 7. That's Lee Schultz again. Schultz over the right side. And Schultz gets down inside the 15-yard line. Chris Williams is the defensive man who made the stop that time.
Boy, I'll tell you what, Lewis Cass does a great job of disguising their offense. They run out of multiple sets. They set twin receivers out. They've run double wides. They run what's called a wing tee, and sometimes they bring the wing back in behind the tackle, a little bit offset. So it keeps that defense guessing as to what formation they're going to run out of. And this time they've got a single setback with a wing back and a one wide out split near side of the field.
Well, however they set them up, it's been successful tonight. They give on the end around for the right side. A penalty marker is down. The Brian Beck is the ball carrier for Cass, and maybe a hold called against Cass. And Bennett on the stop that time. If it is a penalty against Cass, that's about the only thing they've done wrong so far in this game. Only 2 penalties, both against Cass. It is holding against the Cass Kings.
Well, I saw number 71, Kyle Korn, 5'10", 213-pound junior for Lewis Cass, holding around about the 11 or 12-yard line. I don't know if we can pick that up again, but Korn looks like he was the guilty party there as Beck was running out. Was it Beck running out wide there? Who was the guy set in motion?
Yes, as a matter of fact, yes. Check it. That's the 3rd penalty called against Cass tonight for 21 yards total.
Well, let's see if they put the ball here in the air with 3 minutes and about 50 seconds remaining first half. 28-0 Lewis Cass on top. And that ball, Jerry, is going to be marked all the way back around, the 23?
And here's another penalty marker down, and I'm not sure what this is unless somebody lined up. This is going to be against Peru. They may have lined up in the neutral zone. That's what it is, an offside.
Offsides against the Tigers, 5-yard penalty.
Well, if Linus has to put it up, he has has 5 completions for 51 yards, 4 for 5 of 51 yards. And that'll move it up inside the 20. I might call it the 18-yard line. A 3rd down and 13 right now.
Well, for the season, coming into tonight, he had hit on 31 out of 72 passes for 480 yards, 4 TDs, and a couple of INTs.
Back to throw again. They've got a receiver wide open in the end zone. He bobbled it. Did he get it back in time? Yes, he did. Good recovery by Lee Schultz. It hit him in the shoulder pads right on the number 7. It got in the air, but he managed to get it back and get his feet down inside. That is a terrific catch.
Hey, Bake, let's take a look at this replay because, Schultz does a great job to get his feet in bounds after he bobbled it. But let's give the official credit. If he's on the spot here, you can see the official. He's watching it the whole way. He sees the toes being drugged. I'd like to take a look at that again, Bake, because that is a real tough call for the official trailing the play. He calls it obviously in favor of Lewis Cass. But there you see the pass coming up. And look at this. Schultz bobbles it. Does he have control? Yes. I can't see the feet there. But they say he tiptoed.
Well, the point after is no good. Nick Morris misses the point after. Somebody got a piece of that football coming through the defensive side of the line for Peru. And that's one of the few things that's gone wrong for Cass so far in this game. 3:21 remains in the first half. Our 40 football game of the week. It is Cass 34, Peru nothing. All Lewis Cass High School. 3 minutes and 21 seconds of playing time in the first half. They surprised Peru early, and they have jumped on them big time. 34-0 is your score with 3:21 to go in the half. Here's the kickoff, and again, it's a short kickoff. It'll bounce right at the 30-yard line. The ball is loose. I believe Peru bounced on top of it. One of the defenders for Cass, number 71, Kyle Korn, was down there in a hurry. But it is Peru's football.
As we know, on a kickoff situation, it is a live football. And I could not believe that Peru was not diving for that ball. I only saw a couple people bending over at the waist and not diving, getting down on the ground.
Well, right now, they're a team in a little bit of shock, I got to believe, as Lewis Sipes brings them up to the line of scrimmage. Sipe, by the way, if he has to go to the air, not having a good night. He is 0 for 5 and has had 2 passes intercepted, the first of which turned into a touchdown. He is back to throw, but instead gives the ball to Brandon Jones. And Jones got running room. Jones gets a couple of good blocks. He has stood up at about midfield and stopped just shy of the 50-yard line. Brandon Jones stopped by Schultz and Mayhill. We talked about Brandon Jones. This young man can get it, John. We told you he's rushed for over 1,000 yards this year. John, look at this thing again. A nice move by Brandon Jones.
Jones picked his blocks well, followed him well. Great run before he's finally wrestled down around midfield, Jerry.
Wagoner on the left side of that line, number 67. Adam Mahalik is up there with him. Paisley, Rush, Rogers, all trying to get something going offensively. Jones again, gives ground, gets back to the line of scrimmage, busts down the right sideline, gets across midfield, down around the 40-yard line. In fact, they'll mark it right at the 40, and I believe it'll be a first down, and if so, only the second of the football game for Peru.
You've heard it 100 million times. You can only keep an all-state running back down so long, and right now, Brandon Jones is starting to flex his rushing muscles as he kicks outside. Look at that straight arm, just straight arms a guy away from him. Gain of 11 on that particular carry, but in this series, he has got 32 yards in his last 2 carries, and Jones starting to get some of the fans up on their feet a little bit, get them stirring at least.
It's homecoming tonight. Nice crowd on the Peru side of the field. They set up again. Tight end set to the right side, slot to the left. They'll give the ball to Jones again. Jones gets a block, sees the hole, gets through the hole, gets about 4 or 5 yards on the play. Clayton is the guy who made the defensive play. Jones, a senior, a 6'1", 195-pounder. He is tough.
Well, Peru's moving the ball well at this point in time, but a little bit ago, Lewis Cass got their latest score, 6 plays, 55 yards, 3 minutes, 38 seconds elapsed time. And the key play was a 31-yard run by Jared McQuiston. Extra point failed, 34-0. That's where we're at. Lewis Cass on top, but Peru threatening as Jones has got him moving.
Jones now with 11 carries for 58 yards, and they need all of those they can get. Back to throw, but the fake, the handoff again to Brandon Jones. Jones over the right side, takes tacklers with him. Got it inside the 20, the penalty marker down. The indications are early on that it's holding against Peru as Zach Fry made the stop for Cass.
Jerry, anytime you see an umpire in the middle on the defensive side of the ball throw a flag like that, you can count on it being holding.
And that's the last thing these guys need right now. Brandon Jones kind of slow getting back to the huddle. There's a look at the young man, the senior. Now rejoining his gang, and they'll mark it back, the penalty called against Peru.
Tonight's game brought to you by Mike Anderson Chrysler Dodge Jeep, located in Rochester, right off US 31. In addition to the general public, Chrysler employees and eligible family members, everyone is welcome at Mike Anderson in Rochester.
Yeah, the officials wind the clock now, John, and we're right at the 2-minute mark. They'll mark it back on the 43-yard line. It'll be second down and 13. Wideouts to the right side. Slot man is out there. Let's see if Sipe decides to put it up. He does not. He'll give the ball to Jones again and wide out because this young man has really looked up. Now here's another penalty marker coming in very late. And it may be a personal foul called against Cass as he got it right down to the 31-yard line.
Possibly a late hit personal foul call against Lewis Cass. No, they say face mask, not a late hit, a face mask here. So that will get Peru in the red zone for the first time tonight once they mark off this penalty, Jerry Baker. And
well, not just the red zone, John, but really the first time they've been across midfield in this football game.
Right.
They had only one first down before they got the football on this particular set of downs. They've had 3 on this series, so a total of 4 for the night. And this, as John Fox just mentioned, is obviously the best field position for Peru all night long.
First time they've been inside the Cass 20-yard line. Let's see if they're able to cash in the last minute and 30-some-odd seconds.
Sipe under center. Sipe fakes the pitch, gives the ball once again to Jones. Jones around the left side. Good defensive pursuit that time, but he'll get it down inside the 5-yard line. The first guy to hit him was number 40, Matt Clayton, defensively for Cass. He slid down his legs, couldn't do anything with it, and Kyle Corrin finally came up with a stop. But that young man is really working hard. And again, if you get a chance to take a look at it, his left hand has been very heavily bandaged.
Well, actually, his left hand and his pinky finger is basically all covered, then wrapped around the wrist. If the cameras get a good shot at Brandon Jones again, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Can't see it from that angle because he's not showing that left hand right now, but it is heavily taped, and that's got to bother when you're used to carrying a ball with both hands exposed and skin touching the ball. And to have a gob of tape around there, it's got to feel different to him.
Absolutely. Jones, 5 carries, 56 yards on this drive. And again, he had to sit out for a while he got himself re-wrapped. Well, next Friday night, Roncalli's Rebels and the Zionsville Eagles. It's interesting to note, John, that Roncalli's ranked number 7 by the coaches and by AP. Zionsville 10th by the coaches and 6th by AP, and yet they're both 2-2. That gives you an indicator of what kind of teams they're playing is what it really says to you.
The schedule very competitive for both Zionsville and Roncalli.
Those two clubs were 1-2 in the 3A at the start of the year.
Well, they both featured two outstanding running backs, Nally of Roncalli and Wagner of Zionsville.
13 carries, 78 yards for Jones, who has the football again. Comes around the right side, made a little dipsy-do move, got inside the 5, down to the 4-yard line. And that should be a first down as Clayton gets credited with the stop that time for Cass. And 1:12 to play here in the first half of this game. Yes, it is a first down. Yeah, they've just now changed the marker across the way. So the clock is moving with 1:10 to play here in the first half. Quickly up to the line of scrimmage, Peru. Here's a give to Jones again. He'll bang it down just shy of the goal line. And it'll be second down and goal to go. The clock is winding down to 50 seconds now with Neal the stopper that time. In a hurry is Lewis Sipe in kind of a hurry-up offense here. They'll set Brandon Jones up in that tailback spot. He's got a running back right there with him, Brandon Appleton. Here's a give to Jones again, and this time he's got it. Well, Jones was really the guy who put him on his shoulder that time. Nice job of play calling from Lewis Sipe and the offensive staff of Peru, and Brandon Jones stayed right with him.
Well, with 34 seconds on the scoreboard, Peru finally puts a 6 marker up there. Brandon Jones basically carrying the load, as Bake mentioned, on this drive. Finally goes off left tackle for the final yard and the touchdown there. It'll be Sipe to add the extra point. He's a straight-on kicker, too.
Out of the hole to Brandon Appleton. The kick is up, gets good distance, kicked it almost out of the ballpark, and it is good. So with 34 seconds remaining in the first half, the Peru Tigers are on the board for the first time tonight. They were down 34-0 as Cass just took over this football game right from the get-go. Peru had the ball to start the game, had the interception, and Cass turned it into a touchdown and came right back and added more to it. Led 34-0, now 34-7 with 34 to go.
For all your insurance needs, look to the folks at Webster Insurance Agency in Peru. They have over 50 years of insurance experience serving Peru and Miami County. They handle both personal and business insurance. Call Tom Webster, Mark Allen, Steve Huffman, Cynthia Leffel at 472-3334. That's 472-3334 for all your insurance needs. That's the Webster Insurance Agency.
Well, Jones is approaching the century mark in rushing in the first half. He has 85 yards. We mentioned earlier in the telecast, Peru's Brandon Jones rushed for 321 yards against Eastern and 318 yards against Twin Lakes. So big numbers are not really unknown to this young man, but he's played with an injury tonight, and his teammates of the Peru Tigers got themselves in trouble early on.
Don't forget, at halftime, we'll be talking with Basil Malby, former Kokomo High School boys basketball coach, now at Lewis Cass, and that's coming up at the half, Bake.
Well, Basil's been around for a while, and what a job he has done over the years.
I can remember when he was at Connorsville, and he had the Heineman brothers.
Here's the kickoff. Yeah, I sure do. Really short. Picked up on the 34-yard line. And some running room on the near side. Stumbling. Picking himself up with some running room is Zach Fry. There's a flag down. Fry gets it across midfield. Down to the 40-yard line of Peru. About 27 yards on the return. And with 26 seconds to go, maybe a clipping call on, would it be on Cass or is it on Peru? It is on Cass.
Is it a hold?
They called a holding call instead. And here comes your scoring drive, John.
The scoring drive for Peru, their first of the night. 7 plays, 72 yards. Took them 2 minutes, 47 seconds. It culminated with a 1-yard TD run from Brandon Jones. And as we mentioned, Jones rushed for 63 yards on that drive. And what really helped the drive stay alive was a big face mask penalty against Lewis Cass.
And that decision made by Blake Conklin for Peru will march Cass back, and they'll start this series on the 45-yard line. I'm not real sure what Scott Mannering might decide to do here. Will he just take the knee down and get out here with a 34-7 lead? This is actually the only play he needs to run to finish out the first half. He will not. He'll give the ball to the fullback. They'll try the right side, get about a yard that time. It should have been Blake Conklin. They'll make it McQuiston.
That was a basic dive play. Dive right. That's what it was.
Adam Webster on the stop. They're down to 10 seconds, and let's see if Cass tries to hurry back to the line of scrimmage and get one more play away. It doesn't look like they're going to. So that's going to be the conclusion of the first half, and a bit of a surprise, only in the respect that Cass scored so quickly and was so dominant on both sides of the line. John, they've got a lot of work to do in that Peru locker room. Time to get... It's the 40 football game of the week. We're honored to have as a guest here at halftime a longtime friend and truly one of the greatest coaches ever to coach of the high school basketball ranks, Basil Malby. Basil is going into a brand new situation next year. Basil, you're going to be part of this Lewis Cass program next season.
Well, last spring I was talking with Greg Marchand, the athletic director, when I was the athletic director of the middle schools at Kokomo, and he said, you know any good coaches that might be interested? And I said, well, I'm thinking of retiring, and if Kokomo doesn't let me still coach, I might be interested. And about a week and a half later, I signed up at Cass. So it's a great opportunity, a great group of young men, and a great school.
You're watching this game with a certain amount of trepidation because you got some guys, not just some guys, but some of your key players playing on this Cass football team.
Well, they're great athletes, as you can see. Kane Linus, the 4-year starter for us, averaged 18 points a game. I think he'll be in the top 2 or 3 teams all-state, Hoosier basketball. Very, very good player. Also out there, you can see number 7, Lee Schultz, is a great athlete. He's a returning starter. Brian Beck played JV last year. Number 11, he had the interception for a touchdown. And then number 19, the split end, Carl Eschman's a returning starter. So 3 of my returning starters are playing. One other returning starter, Tyler Fowler, is playing tennis. So we do have 4 returning starters and some really good athletes. So we don't want them to get hurt, but boy, it's fun to see them play out here and have a great time.
Basil, help me out here. You won a state championship, went to the state championship game 3 times.
Yeah, we were
the highlights of your career, I suppose, huh?
It's great. You know, when you win the state championship, there's nothing like it. I was just thinking, that's your goal. When I heard Bobby talking, about Coach Knight talking, and, you get that thrill of doing it. You want to do it again.
Yeah.
And he wants to do it again. I want to do it again. And I can remember in '83 being able to climb up and win that state championship. '89 getting the runner-up against a great Lawrence North team with Larry and Montross. And then in '97, we had an excellent chance then. We got beat in the semifinal game by Bloomington North, but we led at halftime and had another chance. So we're just hoping this year we have another chance at it. And, I don't know how much longer I'll coach, but, Coach Knight said he's 59 and he's just getting started.
He says he's still working on his X's and O's for crying out loud.
It's exciting. And,
Basil, take me back to your very first coaching job. Where was that?
West Washington, down in southern Indiana.
So in effect, this is kind of like going back to your roots and not starting over, but restarting, if you will.
Well, I'm from Miami County. I went to north of Peru. I went to high school, and so I've used to come to Peru when I was a kid and watch Peru football practice right here in this stadium. So this is back to my roots.
All right, now, the reason you've got you up here, not just because I like you and like to talk to you, you've got a very special coaching clinic coming up here.
Well, I started coach's clinic when I was at Connorsville 22 years ago, and we've run it consecutive now. This will be our 22nd year. So we're having it at Lewis Cass. It'll be September 23rd, next Saturday. Great lineup. Bill Harrell, I think one of the great coaches that's ever been in high school Indiana. We also have Tim Buckley, the new coach at Ball State. Mike Wade, the new coach at Kokomo. And also we end up with Eric Foister from Huntington North. And myself will be playing our zone defense. So
this is open to the various coaches?
Yeah, all over the state. We've averaged about 200 coaches a year, and it's $25 in Lewis Cass, Walton, Indiana.
How do they get a hold of you?
You need to call the high school, and they'll give you the information, and hopefully see a lot of coaches there. And we've got a good turnout starting, and I think it'll be an excellent week for people to learn some basketball.
I know you're just getting started at Lewis Cass, but we're going to do the state finals on 40 this year. So should we look for you there?
I'll be there. I hope I'm coaching. I'll be there regardless, but I hope I'm coaching.
A good friend, Basil Malby, one of the classiest and one of the best coaches in Indiana high school basketball history. Again, your halftime score is 34-7. Peru with the lead, or Lewis Cass with the lead. We'll be back at the second half kickoff in just a moment or two.
Take a look at the Courtyard by Marriott halftime top five polls. That's the top 5 classes in the state of Indiana. And Indianapolis You can find the Courtyard by Marriott at Castleton. Give them a call at 1-800-321-2211 or visit them on the web at www.courtyard.com. The Associated Press 5A top 5 poll. Ben Davis number 1, Bloomington South 2, Snyder is 3, Penn 4, and Chesterton 5. In the 4A poll, Cathedral still holding on to that one, number 1. Seymour, the Owls are number 2, McCutcheon 3, Lowell 4, and East Noble is 5. Looking at the 3A top 5 poll, Heritage Hills, Norwell, Rochester. Watch out for those Elwood Panthers. They're number 4, very good team. And number 5 in 3A is Northwood. In the 2A poll, Fort Wayne Bishop Lure still number 1, Evansville Mater Dei 2, Jimtown Jimmy's 3, Danville 4, and Brownstown 5. And finally, in the single A poll, the Attica Red Ramblers are number 1, Adams Central 2, Hagerstown 3, North White 4, and Park Tudor of Indianapolis number 5. Let's take a look at the halftime highlights. First of all, the interception by Brian Beck, 43-yard interception return for a touchdown. And that gets Lewis Cass off early in the ball game. And then Matt Clayton goes off right tackle. And once again, Matt Clayton, another 3-yard off tackle touchdown. Here's an interception coming up by Lee Schultz, number 7, the safety of the Lewis Cass Kings. Lewis Cass pretty much owned that first half offensively. As we've mentioned before, they're at 34-7 at the half. And then the QB sneak, the quarterback keeper, Kane Linus, makes it 27-0. The kick at that point made it 28-0. The final score by Lewis Cass, a great tightrope juggling act by Lee Schultz in the end zone. And the official right on it. You see him drag the feet. That camera shot was just fantastic. You can see it was a touchdown on reception for Lee Schultz. And the only highlight of the first half for Peru, Brandon Jones goes right up the middle from 1 yard out for the touchdown. The extra point's good. 34-7 at the half. Looking at stats, passing-wise, Lewis Cass 69 yards passing, Peru nothing. Rushing yards, Lewis Cass 132, Peru 88. Brandon Jones has done the bulk of that with 85 of the 88 yards. First downs 9-5 Lewis Cass, 2 turnovers on Peru. Penalties 5 for 51 for Lewis Cass, 2 penalties for 12 yards for Peru. Time of possession, Peru 9 minutes 42 seconds. Lewis Cass 14 minutes and 18 seconds. We'll take a break, and Jerry Baker and I will be back for the start of the second half. There you see the score on the IBP scoreboard.
Welcome back to Peru, Indiana for our 40 football game of the week. And it has been all Lewis Cass High School in the first half of this game. John, the question I've got to ask you, Peru scored in the final seconds of the first half. Any chance that might give them a bit of a lift here in the second half?
Well, a lot of it is really predicated on how the defense does in this opening series.
Well, the kickoff is taken by Cass. They'll run it almost back out to midfield again. Schultz with the return that time, and Donovan with the stop that time. So Cass will go to work at about the 46, 47-yard line, 22 yards on the return that time.
Once again, Lewis Cass, great field position. And like I said, as the kickoff was happening, Peru's got to have a defensive stand. They've got to have a gut check right now. They've got to get the ball back, get a good sustained drive, and punch it in. And maybe they could make a game of it yet. There's still a half of football. You saw all the points that Lewis Cass put up there in one half. Actually, one quarter, they put 21 on the board.
And as we pointed out earlier, that's what they average per game is about 21 points. Here's that unique formation. They must have had a half a dozen formations that they've used in this football game. Quarterback keep right up the middle. That is number 9, Kane Linus, who has rushed for 111 yards and 33 carries coming into the game tonight. Appleton on the stop now for Peru.
Looking at some individual numbers, I ran down the team stats for Cass rushing. Clayton, 10 carries, 48 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jared McQuiston, 8 carries, 59 yards. The quarterback, Kane Linus, 1 rush, 4 yards for a touchdown and a half. Of course, he just picked up 11 there. And Schultz, 5 carries for 21 yards. We'll look at the passing numbers on Linus after this play.
13 yards on the pickup. Another first down for Cass. Here's the inside handoff again with the football. Is Lee Schultz. Schultz breaking free. Schultz heading toward the end zone. Schultz will score. A terrific run, a 41-yard run that time for number 7, Lee Schultz. Not only are they strong, John, we've talked about that, but they've got some good speed and some good quickness, and all of a sudden it's a 40-7 football game.
Well, we'll take a look at the replay, and I mentioned they were going to have to stop him on this opening drive, and they didn't do it. Schultz was one determined player. He broke 3, 4, 5 tackles to get in the end zone. He was not to be denied, Jerry Baker.
Here's the point after. Nick Morris will kick it out of the hole to Kane Linus, the quarterback. with 11:26 to go in the third quarter. Just really getting warmed up. Here's the point after. It is a minute penalty marker down prior to the kick. And let's wait and see which way it's going to be called. Probably against Cass. Yes, a procedure call against Lewis Cass. They'll mark him back 5.
Well, Schultz had 21 yards rushing until that carry. Now he has got 62 yards and a touchdown, 2 touchdowns to his credit tonight.
It's been an amazing performance by this Lewis Cass team. And the guys up here in the press box with us, of course, being operated by Peru, since that's where we are. So, you know, this happens to us every year, at least for the last couple of years. Cass has come in here with a strong squad, and they perform very, very well.
That's what Mr. Shuey, our PA announcer, was telling us, that they seem to have had Peru's number. Lewis Cass, I'm speaking of.
The point after is blocked. And again, one of the very few mistakes bad by Cass. Conklin with the block that time. Blake Conklin for Peru. So let's set it up now. We're only 34 seconds into the second half. And already Cass has put themselves on the scoreboard, and they lead 40-7.
Let's take a look at that scoring drive for Lewis Cass to open up the second half. Only 2 plays, 34 yards, 55 yards, as I mentioned, all 34 seconds, 41-yard TD run from Schultz. And Schultz had 6 carries now for 62 yards on the night. The extra point, as you mentioned, was blocked. The score now 40-7. Lewis Cass turning this one into a rout.
And this is the most total points Cass has scored all year. They put 21 on the board in the very first game of the season against Delphi, 29 against LaVille, 35 against Northwestern, only 0 against Hamilton Heights last week.
Well, Mr. B wants to get me.
We're fighting to be it here,
yeah,
huh?
Yeah.
All right, Nick Morris, number 2, will line it up and kick it away. And let's see if Peru's got any kind of offensive answer for this Cass club. 11:26 to go here in the opening quarter. Here's the kick. It is taken deep down around the 18-yard line. Running out to the near side across the 30, shy of the 35-yard line. Eshelman on the stop that time. The return by Bennett.
Well, as I mentioned, Schultz now has 6 carries for 66 yards on the evening, a couple touchdowns, 1 receiving, 1 rushing for Schultz. We mentioned that Clayton has 10 carries for 48 yards for Lewis Cass. McQuiston, 8 carries, 59 yards. Linus, 2 carries for 15 yards. Passing Linus, 5 of 6 for 69 yards and 1 TD. Receiving Schultz, 4 catches, 52 yards. Beck, 1 reception, 17 yards. We'll look at Peru's individual numbers at half right after this play.
And here's the guy who had 85 yards in the first half of the game, Brandon Jones. We did some checking, thanks again to the Peru folks up here, that Jones had a dislocated little finger on his left hand. They managed to pull it out and snap it back in position. They have taped it up heavily, as John Fox referred to, in the first half of the game.
Peru rushing, you mentioned Jones, 15 carries, 85 yards at half. Webster, 2 carries, 3 yards. Passing, Sipe was 0 of 5 with 2 INTs. And that's the tail of the tape at halftime, as we're now into the second half with about 10:48 remaining third quarter.
Here's the pitch back again. This is Jones with the football. Jones gets across the 35, dances his way to the 40, gets around a couple of defenders and across the 45 and got a first down. So if he is hindered by that left hand, you wouldn't know it. Kyle Korn on the stop that time for the Cass Kings.
Let's take a look at a replay. Here comes the pitch back to Brandon Jones. He does a great job of following his blockers, but what great pursuit by Lewis Cass. There's 1 guy, 2 guys. 2 guys and 3. Finally, the third guy brings Jones down, and just good defensive pursuit. A lot of gang tackling by Lewis Cass. I'm impressed with their defense. You talked about they're only giving up 13 points a ball game.
Right.
You can see why. Right now, they've only given up 7.
97 yards rushing now for Peru. That's their 6th first down of the game. Can he go over 100 this time? Not this time. Brandon Jones gets maybe a yard as he just barely got back to the line of scrimmage on the right side. Kyle Mayhill, the defensive player, came in for the stop.
Night's game brought to you by Mike Anderson, Chrysler Dodge Jeep, located in Rochester, right off US 31. In addition to general public, Chrysler employees, and eligible family members, everyone's welcome at Mike Anderson in Rochester.
Number 12, Lewis Sipe into the lineup now for Peru. Flank way out to the left side is Brandon Appleton. In fact, he's completely, just barely can you see him at the bottom of your screen down there. A single coverage in that area. Sipe back to throw. Sipe going upstairs. A penalty marker is down. That's going to be defensive pass interference. A couple of the Cass players were back there, including number 11, Brian Beck. And there appeared to be contact prior to the ball finally reaching the intended receiver. And that'll mark it downfield some 15 yards. Automatic first down.
Let's take a couple of different looks at this interference call against Lewis Cass. There's Sipe right back in the pocket, looks across the middle for Prentice Bennett, and Bennett obviously had his arm grabbed trying to bring the ball in. Great camera angle. Our TV 40 sports crew right on top of it again. Here's a different look from a different angle, and you'll be able to see it right there. Yep, he was all over his backside as the ball was coming into the zone.
Brian Beck was the defender in the area. And again, the same offensive set as far as the wideout is concerned. They will put Brandon Appleton in motion. That's 71 yards penalties against Cass. Here's the ball given to Brandon Jones over the right side. He'll get himself about 3 yards on the play. It'll be second down and about 7 yards for the first down. White with the stop that time for Lewis Cass High School.
You know, as we mentioned, Peru, they have went the air a few times, and when they have looked to go to the air, the man that they're looking for, obviously, is Prentice Bennett. Wide out, great speed, says Coach Stewart. It's a kid that's got good hands, good speed.
He is wide to the left side out there along with number 10, Brandon Appleton. Back to throw is Sipes. Sipes coming out of this area. Now almost a terrific catch that time from Appleton. He was in the area, got his right hand on it, tried to bring it in with a defensive play by Zach Fry.
Prentice Bennett, 4 receptions, 189 yards coming into this evening, 3 touchdowns, the main target. We'll take a look at the replay. It's Sipe straight back, about a 4 or 5 step drop, looks over to the near sideline. Perfect spiral, but look at this, almost a great catch by Appleton. He got his fingertips on it, but just a little out of his reach.
3 minutes into the third quarter, 40-7 is your football game with Cass on top. They're on defense right now, trying to stop Brandon Jones, who circles the right side. He will be shy of the first down, still get up another 5 or 6 yards. Kyle Korn, the defensive player, in to stop him that time. And let's see where they finally spotted down. It'll be a third down situation.
I talked about Bennett, but Brandon Appleton also has 4 receptions for 93 yards and a couple touchdowns. So Bennett and Appleton, they're Sipe's favorite targets when he goes the air, Jerry.
Check and make it 4th down and 3. We said 3rd and 3. It's 4th down and 3 yards to go now as Cass lines up defensively. Matt Clayton has been their big stopper. He has 40 tackles coming into the game, 2 of those for loss, 23 solo shots, and 17 assists. So Matt Clayton's been really tough defensively. They'll line it up now. They're going to go for it on 4th down and 3. Running room to the left side. Did he get the first down? We'll have to wait and see. This is going to be close. I may have to bring the chain gang in. That was Lewis Sipe, the quarterback, on the keep that time. Fultz and White with the stopper. And they're going to bring the chain gang in. This is going to be close. Here comes the chain gang. Let's see when they stretch it out here.
Oh, yes!
I got the first down.
Little sound effects there, Bake.
That should be the 7th first down of the game now for Peru, and they need them desperately.
Subway invites you in after the games for their friendly customer service, clean surroundings, and healthy, low-fat menu items. They have 3 new breads and 4 new sauces. There's more choices for the money at Subway with locations in Peru, Bunker Hill, and coming soon, 2 locations in Logansport.
Jones tries the right side. A couple of defenders came out, made him change his routes. Finally knocked down about at the line of scrimmage by Clayton. That was the 8th first down of the football game for Peru, by the way.
Boy, Clayton is all over that field tonight.
He is really, we talked about him. He has 23 solo tackles, 17 assists coming into tonight's game, 40 altogether. He's the top defensive tackler for the Cass Kings.
Well, Jerry, I'll tell you what, I've certainly enjoyed working an additional week with you, and feel very honored to work with you this season, and want to congratulate you on your district award coming up at the RCA Dome next week.
I appreciate that. I had to give the IHSAA and Jim and the guys over there a little money to get that, but you got to do what it takes. Here's Brandon Jones on the lateral pass to the near side. He'll get out and get himself a few yards. This has been a lot of fun, John. It really has. I always have loved high school football. I like the atmosphere. I like the fact that kids play hard, and I love the association with the coaching staffs and also the people who are involved with the schools, from the superintendent to the principal to the AD right on down the line. They're the best.
You know, every week we've had great coaches, athletic directors getting us information. Scott Mannering, the coach of Lewis Cass, did a fantastic job of letting us know about his ball club, as likewise did Mike Stewart of Peru.
As the inside handoff quickly over the left side. That's Blake Conklin, and Conklin gets the first down. Zach Fry comes in to make the stop that time for Cass. And once again, Peru is knocking on the door.
Hey, well, we're throwing out the thank yous, Bake. Scott Thompson, athletic director here at Peru, has just done a fantastic job rolling out the red carpet and making sure we've got everything we need. Scott, we really appreciate you, bud.
In his first year at the school, by the way, and we
Yeah.
wish him the best there. When I talked with him the other day, I congratulated him. He said, well, on some days I'm not sure. There's a lot of work that goes into being an AD these days. Give off to the tailback, Jones again. A couple of defenders in the area, including number 49, Jared McQuiston. And he still manages to get some running room and gets down inside the 5. Neal is the defensive player who made the stop. I'll tell you what, Brandon Jones is for real.
Oh, he certainly is, and he's done a lot on his own. Corn kind of limping there for Lewis Cass. We'll take a look at the replay, and Jones gets behind one of the blockers and really follows him and gets as much out of him. He straight arms McQuiston there. Then he makes a couple of nice moves, follows the block, and gets down inside the 5. That play looked like it wasn't going to get anything, Bake.
Exactly. 120 yards rushing. He's going to try to add to it from the 4.5-yard line down to about the 1 or 2-yard line. Well, we told you they really give the football to this young man. We talked about the fact that in that game against Twin Lakes on the 19th of August, he rushed 47 times for 318 yards. They'll mark it down at about the 2-yard line now, and Brandon Jones once again putting the Peru club on his back, trying to carry him home.
Ton of yards for Brandon Jones, over 1,000 yards in just 4 games this season.
They could get a first down out of this. More than likely, though, the odds are they would get the touchdown before the first down. And Jones hitting the backfield. Jones will lose ground back to the 10-yard line. That's some good defensive play. That looks like Zach Fry, who came in right at the end of the play. Somebody got him as he tried to run down the line. He tried to make his cut over the right side, could not, and Fry came in and finished him off.
Well, whoever it was tied his shoestrings together before Fry got to him. Maybe we'll take a look at the replay and see conclusively who tripped up Brandon Jones. Whoever it was, basically got him right on the shoe tops, just enough to trip him up. There you see the handoff to Jones. Let's watch real closely. Right. Oh, the ground did. It looked like the ground got him.
Yep, I'm not absolutely sure. Somebody tagged him, and now we're going to get a timeout. Sipe came up to the line of scrimmage and didn't like what he saw.
It must have been the turf monster.
Could be the turf monster. He's dangerous out there. Timeout on our 40 football game of the week with 4 minutes and 36 seconds to go in the third quarters. But all cast so far, they lead Peru 40-7.
If you're thinking of waiting till next year to buy a pool, this might change your mind.
Right now, all remaining pools at Watson's are 30 to 60% off.
Plus, you get a free automatic chlorinator,
A free winter cover,
free installation,
free 1 year, same as cash. Complete 24-foot pool package, only $12.99 installed.
get the best brand name patio furniture now at 50% off.
Clearance sale prices on Cal Spas.
At Watson's, you get the best break in town.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics says that technicians will continue to be among the fastest growing occupations through 2005. That's why at ITT Tech, we offer technology-focused programs that can help you begin to prepare for a variety of entry-level technician positions. To learn more about how ITT Tech can help you begin to prepare for some of today's and tomorrow's career fields, call 1-800-ITT-TECH today.
Well, John Fox, we've had one whale of a football game, and particularly an effort by this Cass club. They have been awesome.
Let's take a look at that current drive. 13 plays, 56 yards, but the telling tale, 6 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. That's not what Peru wants. They want to score quickly.
Yeah, they can't afford any long drives like that, down 40-7 with 4.5 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Here's the loose ball picked up in the backfield. Jones will pick it up, I believe. Another loss of about 8 or 9 yards on a fourth down situation. So Cass will get the football again. It's been a tough night for this Peru Tigers club.
Good look at Brandon Jones. You'll be hearing about him, I'm pretty sure, in the future. Someplace big-time program. We'll take a look at this fumble by Peru as Sipe
Yeah.
Pitches it back, and Jones didn't even see the ball coming. Finally had to roll over and fall on it, and I believe he is going to Purdue, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so the uniforms we've been talking about look like Purdue colors. Won't make much. He'll think he's still wearing his high school uniform.
He'll think he's still in Peru.
Absolutely. Clayton, the ball carrier this time for Cass. Now, you talked about the fact that as Wagoner makes the stop, you talked about the fact that Peru needs to score quickly. It's just the opposite now for Cass. They love a 6 or 7 minute drive.
They'd like, 3 or 4 first downs, march it down the field, chew up the rest of the third quarter and part of the fourth.
Absolutely. Carl Eshelman sets out to the left side now. Right side of your screen. They bring him back to the line of scrimmage. And again, multiple set offensively. Back to throw is Linus. Linus going out of the flat on the far side, right in front of his Cass High teammates. It is complete. And that is a first down. Adam Webster, the defensive player in that area over there. Maybe we spoke too soon. We'll see. It's going to be a third down. Yeah, not quite a first down.
Schultz, one of his favorite targets. Of course, Schultz tight-roped for the touchdown for him in the first half in the coffin corner of the end zone. And so far this year coming into tonight, passing-wise, Kane Linus was 31 of 72 for 480 yards, and he's well above 500 now.
Lee Schultz has had a nice night. Coming into the game, he had caught 12 balls for 158 yards and a touchdown. He now has 5 catches for 58 yards in this game alone.
Very close to the first down yard marker on the far side of the field there, Bake. I can't really tell since it's on the far side. It's third and very short, isn't it?
Yep. Linus is 6 for 7 for 75 yards passing in this game.
Well, he's about 550 yards for the season. Quick math.
Good math, too. 3rd and 1, the keeper, the quarterback, Linus. And whittle they dig him up the pile down there, but it is a first down. You see the official call.
When's the last time you were down at Ron Colley to do a high school football game?
It's been a long time since I've been there, but they have a terrific program, as does Zionsville. That could be a great football game.
Oh, I definitely agree. I've only been to Ron Colley one time, and it's kind of set back in the woods type area, isn't it? Behind the school.
Yep.
As I remember, I was in a hurry to get there that night. And
you're always in a hurry to get somewhere. Have you noticed that? Maybe you should leave earlier. Have you thought about that, John?
I thought about that, yes.
Well, that's next Friday night at 10:30 here on 40 Sports. Around the near side, Lee Schultz.
Actually, I beat you here tonight. If the listeners, the viewers would want to know that. I got here early because I've been here several times.
But you skipped lunch, and I wasn't sure where I was going, but I've got it.
Yeah.
We've got one of the players down for Peru. That's number 40, Adam Webster, the 5'7", 153-pound senior. You came early to get some of the snacks. I know why you
The Subway.
That's right.
Yeah, we're fresh as it tastes.
There you go.
Let's take a look at a replay here as Kane Linus hands it off to Schultz. Schultz at 6'4", 170, runs very well. We saw him break a touchdown in the opening series of the second half. He stiff arms the guy there and then takes on a couple of would-be tacklers and is wrestled out of bounds on the Peru sidelines.
It's interesting coming into the game. We talked about Lee Schultz's reception numbers. He had no carries coming into this football game tonight. And they're still trying to help Adam Webster off the deck. Let's hope he is okay. Training crew out there to take a look at him, and he's up under his own power.
Mike Anderson, Chrysler Dodge Jeep, located in Rochester off US 31. In addition to the general public, Chrysler employees and eligible family members welcome everyone to their location off US 31. That's Mike Anderson in Rochester.
Time winding down, 3:19 to go in the third quarter here at Peru High School tonight at Bengal Stadium. It'll be 2nd down and 9 with Peru on the defense trying to stop the Cass club and get that football back. Here's the wing upfield by Linus. He had a receiver out there. The coverage was provided by Brandon Appleton. Just simply overthrew the receiver. A good diving effort that time by Lee Schultz, but to no avail.
I'm impressed with Schultz. Very athletic kid, especially that 41-yard touchdown run. He broke 5 tackles to get that. And you could see he was running toward the goal line, and he wasn't going to be denied. Arm tackles were not going to bring that young man down. He's done a good job receiving, made a great catch in the end zone in the first half. I'm impressed with Schultz on this Lewis Cass team, as well as Linus, the quarterback, and Beck's played very well, too.
You know, Schultz is not a big guy. He's 6'4", but he's only 170 pounds. Here's the give to Schultz again. Left side, bangs his way out for 2 or 3 more yards, shy of the 35-yard line. Well, I'll tell you, this Cass offensive line has done a real nice job, A, of protecting Linus, and B, of clearing some holes for the running back, Schultz, Beck, Clayton, McQuiston, people like that.
maybe Tim Borff can help us out. Is this the first time tonight that Lewis Cass has punted? I think it. Well, he's agreeing with me. I don't remember Lewis Cass punting tonight, Big.
Well, Nick Morris has punted only 15 times throughout this season. He punted 15 times for 550 yards, an average of just under 37 yards per punt. He gets a good one away. It'll head downfield, bounce at the 30-yard line, take a roll inside the 25, and stop shy of the 20-yard line. So no return on that punt. A 44-yard punt, nothing on the return, and with 2.5 minutes to go in the third quarter, Peru will get the football again.
Subway invites you in after the games for friendly customer service, clean surroundings, and healthy, low-fat menu items. Their Bunker Hill location serves up buffet-style pizza by the slice at $1.89. The whole pizza is $7.49. They also have delicious TCBY yogurt in 12 different flavors. They're located in Peru and Logansport. Subway, gotta have it.
Word is, John, that that's the first time they have punted, and it's only the second time that they have not scored when they had the football. They ran out the final seconds of the first half. Here's Jones again with the football. He'll be out around the 35. Schultz stops him, another first down.
I'm glad to see that my memory's still working well,
It's working good, buddy.
Hey, on September the 29th, I'm going to take next week off. Got some commitments to take care of. But I know Howard Kelman will be here with all the exciting action. You're getting that award, as we mentioned, at the RCA Dome for district. What district is that, babe?
I don't have any idea, John.
Oh,
I don't. I'm so embarrassed to get it that I haven't asked. Here's Jones again around the right side. I wish you hadn't to ask me now.
September 29th. Anyway, I'll be back with the TV 40 Sports crew. That's a big Mid-Indiana Conference game, and that will include number 6 Hamilton Heights. I'm looking forward to seeing the Huskies play.
Yeah.
They're going to host the Northwestern Panthers up around where Dennis Casey's from. Casey would rather have the game at Northwestern, obviously, so he wouldn't have as far to travel.
Now he gets $14 a mile.
Yeah,
so,
I'm getting 14 cents a mile.
Well, that's more than I'm getting, buddy. I know.
We're going to have to talk to him after the game.
A minute 25 to go in this game in the third quarter, 40-7. It's been all Cass in this game. They've done it both offensively and defensively. Peru puts a man in motion, Brandon Appleton. They will give to him on the reverse. Appleton's got a couple of blockers out there, some black shirts, gets it across the 30-yard line. A penalty marker comes down as he continues to bully his way forward back to around the 35, and that's back to the original line of scrimmage. Let's see what the penalty is. In that situation, almost bet your bottom dollar it's going to be a holding situation. They picked up 8 yards on the play, or a clip perhaps, or
yeah, legal block below the waist. They don't really actually call it a clip in high school, do they?
No, I don't think they do. It's an illegal block below the waist. Yes, got to go terminology, Bake. Nothing indicated yet from the officiating crew, who've done a nice job tonight. They made a couple of really, really tough calls. On one touchdown they ruled good, and the other they ruled not good. They've been right on top of the play tonight.
You know, I've commented several times on how nice Lewis Cass gets off the ball in their offensive line with Kyle Korn, Ben White, Joe Griffin, Chris Moulton, and Caven Davis. But their defensive line has done a very good job of, especially their ends, of playing contain. They have not let them get outside much. And that's what a defensive end does. He pushes the flow back toward the middle so his teammates can get the job done. The defensive end's job is not to let somebody outside of him.
They marked it back 15 yards, John. That's a major call, and it is a holding call.
We were right.
Yep. 3 penalties, 26 yards for Peru in this game, and they got a long way to go on this second down play. They're putting it up for grabs, and almost a sensational catch. A couple of defenders in the area, and the player in that area for Peru was number 18. That's Zach Hunter, the 6'1", 180-pound junior.
Looking at Lewis Cass defense, their defensive ends, John Elpers, number 62, and number 49, Jared McQuiston, who doubles as their fullback, have done a great job of keeping the flow inside for Peru and not letting Lewis Cass have to try to chase him down from the outside. Their defensive tackles, Ben White and Chris Neal, have also done an outstanding job. Their linebackers are Zach Fry, we've mentioned him, Kyle Mayhill, Kyle Korn, and Matt Clayton, and their deep people I'll mention after this play.
Sipe faked the pass and gave it once again to Brandon Jones. Basically, it looks like they're just trying to get enough room to get the punt away, because now it's 4th down and about 20-plus yards to go.
Two things about it. The defensive line has put some pressure on the quarterback, Lewis Sipe. When he's had to throw the ball, he didn't really have anything to speak of in the first half throwing. But give a lot of credit to the defensive backfield. The cornerback, Brian Beck, has an interception. Showed us Lee Schultz, and cornerback Kane Linus, who doubles as their quarterback, has played well. They've covered the Peru receivers in very good fashion.
Appleton will get it away. Not a particularly good kick. Bounces on the 41-yard line. Takes a cast bounce and comes back across the 40. Knocked out and finally knocked down at about the 37-yard line. Once again, great field position. Only 18 yards on the punt, John.
That was a knuckleball kick that had no rotation. It looked like an old Wilbur Wood pitch.
Yep. The wind is right in the face of Peru here in the second half of this game, or at least here in the third quarter of this game, and they've had a lot of strong winds across the state today, and it's at Cass's back right now with only 17 seconds to go here in the third quarter. 40-7 is the score with Cass with the football and on top. Wide out to the left side. Here's again to give the running back, number 40, Matt Clayton, over the right side. No, check, it's not Clayton. It's 49, not 40. It's Jared McQuiston. McQuiston, number 49, a 6'1", 230-pound big running back as a senior.
Very strong young man. I could see him playing some college ball someplace.
You got that right. That'll be the end of the third quarter, and it has been all Cass again this quarter as they lead Peru by a 40-7 score.
You want great Honda deals? You want great Honda service? You got it at Bob Aurora.
They invite you in after the games for their friendly customer service, clean surroundings, and healthy low-fat menu items. They have 3 brand new breads, 4 brand new sauces, and they're also offering you more choices for your money at Subway with locations in Peru, Bunker Hill, and coming soon, 2 locations in Logansport. Subway, you got to have it.
Fumble. And here is the scramble for the football. Early indication was that Peru had come up with a loose ball, and indeed they have. So Peru gets one of the very few turnovers by, by either club in this game. Zach Hunter, we think, was the young man who came up with the football that time.
Let's watch it, Jerry, here and see where this fumble occurs. Right there, and the handoff never got the exchange. Yeah, it was just a bad handoff. The ball's loose on the ground, and as you said, I believe Hunter got the recovery.
And Peru will come back to the line of scrimmage now. Wide out to the right side. Brandon Appleton way down at the bottom of your screen, almost out of your picture. They split one out to the left side also. I formation in the backfield behind Sipe. Sipe back, about a 2-step drop, lets it fly. He's got a receiver in the area, couldn't get it there though. Good coverage that time by Nick Morris. And it'll be second down at 10 with 11:51 to go in this game.
Well, with 11:51 to go in the game, here's the rushing stats through 3 quarters. Lewis Cass, 209 yards rushing. Peru, 132. But give Lewis Cass a lot of credit. They capitalized on those Peru miscues in the first half that led to scores. And they basically, in the first half, their offensive line for the Kings beat the Tigers off the ball.
Doug Shepard coming into the game now, setting up as one of the running backs on the strong right side back there. Shepard, a 5'8", 170-pound sophomore. Here's the pitch back again to Brandon Jones. Jones gets a lead block out front. In fact, he runs over his blocker this time, Brandon Appleton, and does a terrific job of getting it down to about the 37-yard line. We'd heard some great stories about Brandon Jones, the 6'1", 195-pound senior, who we told you has over 1,000 yards rushing, and he has been sensational tonight.
Let's take a look at a replay. Pitch back comes from Sipe to Jones. We're going to see a block by Appleton, hopefully here toward the tail end of play. Nice block as he levels Schultz, but from behind, Clayton runs him down. Big kid.
He does. 27 yards on the run that time. Sipe back again. Here's the pitch back to Jones. Jones will try to go to the left side. He'll get maybe a yard on the play as the defender sprung the blockers out. He had nowhere to go that time. Nick Morris on the defensive stop that time for Cass. On the near sideline, it is number 18, Zach Hunter, coming in with the play for quarterback Lewis Sipe.
I'll tell you, the game that I'm really looking forward to is on October the 6th. When Indianapolis Cathedral's Irish and Otis Shannon take on Indianapolis Arlington's Knights. That's going to be at Arlington High School. I was there a couple times last year. Boy, a great game in the playoffs between Cathedral and Arlington.
And Shannon is some kind of football player. Sipe again under center. Couple of quick steps, lets it fly. Trying to come to the near side and really not in the area that time of Prentice Bennett. Bennett trying to run it down, but he had a defender by Beck who had him covered pretty well that time.
Well, Arlington, basically, if they could have got by Cathedral, they probably would have won the state. I thought that was for the state championship.
Absolutely.
That was early on in the playoffs last fall.
And that can happen, John, kind of depending on the way your particular grouping is loaded on a year-to-year basis. You can play an awful lot of championship games in a sectional, for crying out loud.
We saw one, I thought, in the semi-state in 5A last year between Ben Davis and Bloomington South.
Exactly.
We did that game.
Exactly. Here's the fake on the pass. Brandon Jones comes to the near side. Jones does a lot that time without much blocking. He had one defender out there, one blocker out there, Prentice Bennett. And the rest of the time he did the job on his own. 10:39 to go, fourth quarter, 40-7. It has been all Cass. We told you they came into this game averaging 21 points a game. They put 21 on almost before we had the national anthem completed playing. Timeout with 10:39 to go. 40-7 is the score in favor of Cass. They're going to bring the chains all the way across the field to see if Jones got that first down. We cannot tell from where we are up in the press box.
Next Friday night, September 22nd, Zionsville Eagles will be at Ron Colley. And, boy, a great shot there. They're short by about a foot. It's going to be fourth and about a foot now for Peru. But Ron Colley Rebels, they're 2-2, ranked number 7 in both the coaches and AP poll. They take on Zionsville from the Rangeline Conference, ranked number 10 in the coaches poll, 6 in the AP poll. Couple of great individual players. It should be a great matchup here on TV 40 next Friday night at 10:30. That's Ron Colley hosting the Zionsville Eagles.
It is fourth down at about 6 links of the chains, what it is. And, of course, obviously, Peru in a situation where they've got to go for it. They will line up with Blake Conklin running out of the fullback spot. Brandon Jones out of the tailback spot.
Well, if you're Jones and Peru, you want to come out with something positive out of this game, even though you're trailing by 33 points.
Quarterback keep by Sipe. Sipe coming into the game in 4 games had rushed only 10 times for 19 yards. Clayton with the stop that time, but now they get a first down and a little room to work with. With 10 minutes and 36 seconds to go, they'll wind the clock. We're in the fourth quarter at Peru High School at Bengal Stadium on homecoming tonight. Not a good homecoming for the Peru gang. Quick pass in the flat on the left side. One blocker out there. Nice little juke that time by Brandon Appleton. And Appleton is going to be knocked out of bounds down around the 5-yard line. Fry is the guy that was out there on him, John, and he did a really
little juke
super
move.
dandy move on him out there.
A little shake and bake, a little rattle and roll there by Appleton. We'll see it on the replay. It's an 18-yard pass and all, and you'll see Appleton make the reception at the 20, stop in his tracks, and nice little kind of a stutter step move, gets to the outside, inside the 10, depending on where they spot the ball, about the 5, I think.
Yeah,
4.
They're going to call it the 4-yard line out of the I formation again. They'll start the man in motion. That's Hunter. And Jones will get down to maybe the 2 or 3-yard line. Clayton and White on the stop that time for Cass Kings.
Ben White is one stellar performer for Lewis Cass. I mentioned him at the start of the ball game. He plays on both sides of the football, center offensively and defensive tackle for Lewis Cass, and he's been on a lot of plays both ways.
Jones again over the right side. Jones does a spin move, gets into the end zone, and gets the touchdown. Brandon Jones has been a singular show unto himself tonight. And Peru gets on the board again. They trail now 40-13. They're going to go for the point after via the kick route. Take a couple of looks at this little run over the right side by Jones.
Jones, pretty much a straight dive play off of the right tackle's tail, and he just kind of pushes him in there, and the lead blocker really did a good job getting Jones in the end zone, and that was Blake Conklin.
So the point after is good by Lewis Sipe, and with 9 minutes and 40 seconds to go, it's a 40-14 football game. Peru is on the board, but Cass still leads. High school with 9:40 to go, and 40-14 is your score. Peru has just scored. It took them a little over 2 minutes to get the job done. We'll show you the drive in a minute. Here's the onside kick that was basically whipped this time by Wesley Hall.
Yeah. Wow, he missed the football when he went to kick
Cass
it.
Can take the ball right there, can they not?
Yeah, they can take it right there.
Absolutely.
Ball didn't go 10 yards. They're going to blow it dead there. Great Cass field position.
This looks like, it's almost like a shank in golf. He just barely got a piece of the football. They were trying the onside kick. Let's look at it again, and you'll see what we're talking about here.
Yeah, he just missed it.
Just barely touched it. And in fact, it goes backwards.
It's probably the motion of the air that moved the ball of his leg.
And fortunately, that particular gentleman had the wherewithal to put his hands on it and get it. Otherwise, as you suggested earlier, it's a live football.
They could have picked it up, ran down,
Absolutely.
picked it up, went downfield and scored.
So with 9:40 to go, it is still Cass dominant in this game. 40-14 they lead.
We'll take a look at the scoring drive, the latest one by Peru right after this play, babe.
Here's the ball to Schultz over the right side, and boy, he has been a real bulwark on the offensive side and the defensive side tonight.
Well, the latest scoring drive for the Peru Tigers, 9 plays, 64 yards, 2 minutes, 16 seconds, capped by a 2-yard TD run from Brandon Jones. The big play, quarterback sneak by Sipe on 4th down to keep the drive alive. Brandon Jones tonight, Jerry Baker, 33 carries for Peru, 155 yards, 2 touchdowns.
All right, once again, Cass with the football. Here's the give to the second man through, coming around the near side, Brian Beck. And Beck will bang it down to the 25-yard line. And it'll be second down. We'll call it 8 yards.
This Lewis Cass team is backfield by committee because you've got 2 fullbacks, you've got 2 or 3 different running backs they've used tonight, and they run out of a wing T formation, sometimes a single setback, then they use a slot back or a wing back, or they split twins out wide, or you know, they just do so many different things. Now they're just going to look at a staggered back formation.
Well, John, coming into the game tonight, 8 guys had carried the ball over the previous 4 games. That makes it difficult from a spotting standpoint. This is McQuiston on the right side. Looked to be caught in the backfield. It's going to turn something negative into a positive, pick up a couple of yards. Auckland on the defensive stop that time. By the way, looking ahead at Cass's schedule, they are home with Eastern of Greentown next Friday night, then home to Taylor, then travel to Maconaquah, then home to Western to close out the season. Peru will be at Western next Friday night, then home to Maconaquah, then they'll close out the season with a couple of road games by going to Northwestern and Hamilton Heights on the 13th of October. Then the fun really gets underway with the state football tournament coming up.
I wouldn't like to be Peru when they go on the road the last 2 weeks. Northwestern's a fine ball club this year. We'll see them on September the 29th against Hamilton Heights is the game on TV 40. And Hamilton Heights, we mentioned, number 6 in 3A. That's a couple of tough road assignments.
Up over the middle, over the right side, some running room, and down to about the 10-yard line. Prior to that, Schultz had 9 carries, 78 yards. Now he has 10 carries, and he's going to be up around that 91-yard mark. Let's take a quick break with 7:36 to go. It's 40-14, all Cass over Peru. 70 yards rushing in this half alone. He's up over 90 yards in the game. Here's the inside handoff to the number 40 runner, Matt Clayton, and Clayton's into the end zone again. And Clayton gets a 9-yard touchdown run. That's his 3rd touchdown. Is that right, John?
That's right. 3 touchdowns for Matt Clayton. 2 of them 3-yard runs. This one a 9-yard run. So Clayton has been very active, and hopefully we'll get some individual numbers on Clayton.
He had 3 touchdowns total on 298 yards rushing on the season coming into tonight's game. The point after by Morris.
Tonight he's got 12 carries, 60 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Here's the point after attempt. It is up. It is good. And once again, Cass comes downfield and puts some more numbers on the board. With 7:11 to play, it is Cass 47, Peru 14. Fox back at Peru. A couple of looks at that final touchdown effort.
Clayton, 9 yards. Last 2 or 3 all on his own. And we'll take a look at one more time. And just a powerful running back is Matt Clayton. Lowers his body, lunges forward, gets across the plane. Let's look at the scoring drive. 2 minutes, 29 seconds, 5 plays, 27 yards, 9-yard TD run by Matt Clayton. Third touchdown tonight for Clayton. Clayton, McQuiston, Schultz all have 60 yards or more rushing. That's 3 guys with over 60 yards tonight for Lewis Cass.
Well, it's just been that kind of a game for Cass, to be honest about it. Another short kickoff, but it is taken from about the 35 out to the 40-yard line. Clinton on the stop that time. And there was 7:05 to go in this football game. It'll be Peru. And now, John, basically, let's be honest about this. Their chances of winning this football game pretty much go on to the wayside. What they're trying to do now, and you suggested this earlier in the telecast, they're playing for some pride right now.
Pride, pull something out of this game and look forward to next week. As you mentioned, Peru next week will be on the road at Western to take on Jim Plummer's Panthers.
Sipe stays in the football game at quarterback. Here's the give to the tailback, and Jones is smacked down right at the line of scrimmage. And Mr. White stops him that time.
How many times we mentioned him tonight?
It's, in fact, 2 or 3 or 4 names just stick in my mind, John. Every time you call him, you go, yeah, I just called his name.
Here's Jones's carry, and you'll see White come right there. Great, beautiful tackle. That's how you bring down an All-State running back, Jerry.
Let me
you put that shoulder in the hip.
Well, my question's been answered. 34 carries, 155 yards for Brandon Jones tonight. 34 carries. Here's the fake for number 35. Back to throw is Sipe. Sipe's got a receiver on the near side, and a terrific defensive play that time by Brian Beck. Beck was there. The pass intended for Prentice Bennett.
Beck's a pretty good athlete.
Yes.
He's made an interception. He's ran the ball well. He's received on offense. We'll take a look at a replay. Beck measured this one perfect, Beck, and he just knocked it out of bounds. It's like a shortstop measuring the runner coming down to first base. He just measured it, knocked it out at the last moment.
There's a good look at the young man, number 11, Beck, 5'10", 157-pound senior. 3rd down and 10 now with the clock showing 6:25 to go, 4th quarter. Pressure this time. Pressure coming from 49. That's Jared McQuiston. Breaking free for the moment is Sipe. Sipe still free. Sipe throws it upfield. He's got a receiver. And again, it is the number 11 of Brian Beck that comes in to make the stop.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful defensive coverage from Brian Beck. He read that play, and at the last minute, he slid that arm right in front without touching the body of the Peru receiver. Great job by Beck.
Sipe is 1 for 12 passing for a grand total of 18 yards and 2 interceptions. And the night was really set on the first series by Peru when they got the football with the opening kickoff and had the interception and run back for a touchdown. Here's the snap back. Here is the kick away by Appleton. Pretty good hit this time by Appleton. Taken on the 27-yard line by number 7, Lee Schultz. And Schultz runs out of bounds at the 35. So we'll take a break with 6:03 to go here in the 4th quarter. It's been all Cass. They lead Peru 47-14. Hurry back to the line of scrimmage now. Here's the give to the tailback, running over the right side. Some running room out to about the 37-yard line. Some interesting numbers on Brandon Jones in this football game tonight, John, as he has had some real interesting running statistics tonight.
Jones has 19 carries.
34 carries.
Well, I know that, but I was getting ready to mention that 19 of the 34 carries have been 3 yards or less. 15 of them have been more than 3 yards, but he got the bulk of his yards on his first scoring drive. He got over 60 yards and the touchdown, the first score of the night. So 19 out of the 34 carries, he's not been very effective.
Absolutely. 155 yards total for him tonight. Here's a give to the tailback. This will be number 31 of the lineup now, Joe Tiki.
A lot of subs
5'9", 150-pound sophomore. Yeah, this is a broadcaster's nightmare right now. Because you know sure as the world there's going to be a number out there that we don't have on our charts, and we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, but Mom and Dad love this type of thing, especially if your kid's a freshman or a sophomore or something like that.
Speaking of that, your young son is scheduled to be, what did you tell me, in the starting lineup tonight?
Well, he's actually going to get some PT, get a little playing time, and he played a little bit in the 4th quarter at the Dome last week, had a good punt return, and he's coming on. Didn't have a chance to watch him. Obviously, I'm here at Peru tonight, so hopefully they're doing well. I heard at halftime they were down 10-0.
Well, I hope he's playing well. I really do. Once again, running back in the lineup is Drew Donovan. He's a sophomore also, a 5'10", 146-pounder. He'll get it across the 45. Appleton on the stop.
Actually, Alexandria playing very well this year. They're 3-1, but that CIC conference has got 2 undefeated teams in it. The Frankton Eagles are 4-0, and the Elwood Panthers, we had them on the top 5 poll for Class 3A. They're number 4 this week in the
That's a mean
top 5 poll.
John.
That's a pretty good conference.
Betcha.
2 teams undefeated, 1-3. Actually, I think 2 teams are 3-1 at this point.
7 players have carried the ball now for Cass. I told you earlier that on the statistical sheet, 8 players had carried the ball for Cass coming into this game tonight. 255 yards rushing for Cass tonight. They've done a good job of moving things around. Corey Connor, a sophomore, carries the football. He'll lose some yardage.
I've been lobbying with Dennis Casey to try to get the Elwood Panthers on the TV 40 game of the week. I've been telling him and a couple of sports writers where I vote for a poll that they're an extremely good 3A team. Extremely good.
You know, Dennis can be bought.
Yeah, I know that.
So I'm just throwing that out there. Do you let it go or take advantage of it?
We might see him in the playoffs, actually.
There
because,
you go. Then he wouldn't have any choice, would he?
He wouldn't have any choice.
47-14 with 3 minutes and 35 seconds to play. Cass with the football, and the red, white, and navy have been very, very impressive tonight. He'll get it back to about the original line of scrimmage. Ball carrier, number 31, Joe Tiki. Adam Webster on the stop.
The wholesale substitutions all the way across the board here now. Offensive linemen running in and out.
I see Jesus Gonzalez, a sophomore, also coming onto the field now for Cass. We'll try to acknowledge as many of these young men as we can. Looking at there, Matthew Verbrick, a sophomore, also. A lot of youngsters on the field right now for Cass. Here's the give to the fullback. Smacks into the middle, gets turned completely around. It should be Tiki again.
It is Tiki.
And he'll get up to about making it about 7 yards to go for the first down and a punting situation. So we have 2.5 minutes, 2:35 to go in this football game.
This one was decided pretty much at halftime, Big.
You got it. In fact, it was decided maybe even before that when Cass put 21 points on the board early on in the game. Here is the kick. Beautiful kick. Appleton will call for a fair catch. It'll bounce on the 10-yard line, be killed on about the 12, and we'll take a break and come back with the final 2 minutes and 14 seconds after that 30-yard punt. It is Cass 47, Peru 14. Well, we're about out of time now in this football game. 2 minutes and 14 seconds to go. We are told that Brandon Jones is not on the field, and that does not surprise me. If you were not with us earlier, he had a dislocated left pinky that the training crew for Peru did manage to get back into its socket properly. They taped up that left hand pretty much to firm up that left pinky finger. He did play, and he played very, very well tonight, but there's no reason to put him out there right now.
That's right, and risk any further injury to Brandon Jones. He's going to play another day, and, you know, I remember watching a guy have his shoulder actually pop back into the socket when I played. And that's before we had the sports medicine trainers and some of the equipment that they have today to help these kids get back from injuries a lot quicker.
Here's the pitch back to the deep back coming on the near side now. We're going to see a lot of new faces in the lineups at this particular point of the football game.
You might
There's Chris Williams right there.
You might remember Mel Gibson in the movie Lethal Weapon, where he has his shoulder pop back in, and it's a very gruesome type thing. You imagine what that young man had to deal with, having just his pinky finger pop back in.
Also, John, didn't you play with fear because of the leather helmets?
No, I actually had the hard helmets. It was just a little bit past the leather helmets, Jerry. Now, back in the 70s when I played on this field, we had a face mask.
Actually had a face mask and a hard helmet.
That's right.
I'll be doggone. Well, you guys were uptown, I'm telling you. Inside handoff again, running over the left side with the football is Adam Webster. And Webster does a nice job getting it out to the 42-yard line with less than a minute to play. They'll stop the clock while they move the chains up. And take a look again at next week, 18-yard run there. John, you guys, you and I won't get to see that game, but that should be a great game with Ron Colley in Zionsville next week.
Well, I'm going to watch it on TV 40 when I get home.
Okay, sure.
I'm just taking 1 week off, and I'll be back the following week. I'll be at Hamilton Heights. That won't even be a road trip. That'd be like a home game for me.
You can walk there, can't you?
Maybe.
Maybe.
might get on my bike and ride over there. If it's not too cold.
Final seconds of this football game. What's been a perfect night for football. We opened up the season with John and I sweltering in various press boxes with the carry, Blake Conklin. And I recall, John, was it at Lawrence North where we had to get outside the press box and try to get some fresh air? And we said at that time, we're going to pay for this because we're going to get cool air sometime. And this has been a great night for a football game.
It is. It's autumn in Indiana. It feels like it.
This could be the final play of the game. We're down to 16 seconds to go. And Cass on the verge of going 4-1 in this football season. Here's the pitch back, coming deep, and stood up with a couple of yards gain that time, and that's going to pretty well do it. The Peru club heads out to the middle of the field to shake hands with Cass Williams on the carry for the final carry of the game, and that's your final score. Well, Cass set the stage early, and they did not back off. Peru tried to get into the football game and simply did not have the manpower to do it on either side of the line, offensively or defensively. So your 40 football game of the week final score is Cass 47, Peru 14. We'll be back to wrap things up in just a moment. Score, and if you're a Peru fan, not much of a football game. If you're Lewis Cass, you're going to be very proud of the way your team played. And John, as you look at the statistics, man, Lewis Cass had a situation tonight where if you're Peru defensively, you have no idea who to go after out there.
One word I can think of, Bake, balance.
Yep.
Lewis Cass had plenty of balance. Clayton had 12 carries, 60 yards, 3 touchdowns. McQuiston, the big fullback, had 10 carries, 63 yards. Schultz, who turned into a running back this evening, well, he has 10 carries, 91 yards, 1 touchdown rushing, 1 touchdown receiving, 5 catches, 58 yards. Linus had 6 passes completed out of 8 attempted, 75 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown. Peru's Brandon Jones, really the only thing to add there, 34 carries, 155 yards, 2 TDs. Just too much balance for Lewis Cass.
We talked early in the game, John, about the fact that Cass was averaging 21 points a game. They got 21 points in the first quarter. This game, the pace of the game was established almost from the outset of the kickoff.
I agree with you.
And what happens for Peru now? What they go back to the drawing board? The coaching staff's got a tough job now with the Peru Tigers.
I think you just tell the kids Monday the game's over. Let's start anew. It's a brand new day. Let's get after it, and let's try to get back in the race in the MIC.
John, your final thoughts on tonight's game are pretty definitive. What about next week on our 40 football game of the week, Zionsville and Roncalli? What do you see there?
Boy, I'll tell you what, I think Roncalli's lost a few of their big name players from the past, and Roncalli, they don't rebuild, they just reload. I think Roncalli is going to be the team to watch next week.
All right, I've enjoyed working with you, my friend, and good luck to you along the way. We'll meet again perhaps down the tournament trail here somewhere.
Sounds great to me, Jerry.
All right, Jerry Baker speaking for John Fox and the rest of our 40 football sports crew tonight, saying good night from Peru High School, where it was all Cass tonight as they win the football game 47-14.